attractive women don't become anti-men. And this is something that I've noticed that I think a lot of people need to understand. A lot of women can also be panderers. There's a lot of women panderers. They pander to women and they pander to men as well. And it is very important to use your coconut when you're on TikTok, because a lot of these women, they're going to be telling you things that you want to hear, right? Men bad. Men are bad. Men are bad. Men are terrible. Yes, there are terrible men out there, right? There are terrible men out there, just like there are terrible women out there. But I just want you guys to acknowledge that just because the woman is telling you everything you want to hear, it doesn't mean that she's saying the right thing. But I think this is something that we need to address as well. There is a rise of anti-man, right? And this is something that I've also noticed, in the sense of, if you look at the women that are always telling women all these things about how terrible men are, but one thing you need to understand is that a lot of these women are not telling you the full story. In the sense of, I mean, for example, there's another woman who talks about how terrible black men are overall, and it's all she talks about. But she's also married. Her followers are predominantly single, angry women. And I always try to understand, like, don't these women also challenge her points sometimes? Don't you guys ask these people questions? Because a lot of them have been exposed. A lot of them have been exposed for being double-faced. A lot of the red pill guys, which I'm not, and I speak against them, they've been exposed for being frauds. I'm not saying men are innocent and sugar and spice and everything nice. If you've watched my content, you will know that I hold men accountable. I typically focus on men. I barely speak on women. So I know that men can be terrible. But this idea that other women are putting out there, that men are just bad across the board, they are not telling you the full story. I guarantee you that they're not telling you the full story. Because me, as a man, when I hear these women talk, I can already clock it. As a man that deals with women, I can smell the BS when these women are talking. For example, there's one that always says, oh, she never trusts a man, never trusts a man. She has never been in a relationship before. So why are you listening to somebody like that? She's damn near 50. There's nothing wrong with being single. I encourage it. But if you're gonna build your platform on talking down on the other agenda, and you don't even have experience, what gives you the credibility? Because this is something that I've understood. As a man who is 30, I have gotten to a space in my life right now where I read between the lines a lot. But I feel like a lot of women, they like to hear what they want to hear, if that makes any sense. A lot of women don't also understand that your anger is very profitable. And I've also noticed that a lot of women on social media, a lot of them don't tend to be the happy women. Because if you see the women that talk about how they love their husband and how they love dating and how they love their boyfriend or how they love men, it's usually other women that are in the comment section coming against those women. If you've noticed it, if you've been around social media, you will notice this. Anytime a woman talks about how she loves her husband and how she loves to cook for her husband, how she loves to take care of her husband, which is nothing wrong with it. She loves her husband. Look at the comment section. It's usually full of women talking about, oh, he's going to cheat on you. He's going to leave you. He's going to do this to you. Oh my God, why can't he cook for himself? It's all miserable women. Happy women are not on social media. If they're on social media, they are for sure not making content. And this is something that I say to women all the time. There are good men out there. Trust me. There's a lot of women in happy and healthy relationships. They just don't talk about it on TikTok. I know a lot of them. They have TikTok. I know women that are in very healthy and happy relationships. They are not on TikTok. They are living their lives. So you better be very careful. Just be very careful when these women panderers are just telling you how terrible men are. Because oftentimes these women are not telling you the full story. Yes, they might have had a terrible dating experience, but we need to also acknowledge that these women also played a role in the dating choices. Are we just going to ignore that? Just conveniently ignore that this woman also had a role to play in her dating choice? Like, yeah, men have their flaws, but so do women, goddammit. A man will never have access to you if you did not let him. I mean, I was on the live stream the other day, right? And there was this woman talking about how they shouldn't date felons. I'm like, that's a no-brainer. Yes, don't date felons, ladies. That's a no-brainer. But then there was like, I think overall 30 women that came on the panel to talk about their dating history, and almost every single one of them, they were talking about how the guy they dated went to jail. And they were making it sound like it's the most regular stuff on earth. You know, so I was talking to this guy. We had a couple of kids, not married, and he went to jail. And I was like, hold on. Are we just going to skip that fact that the guy went to jail? Like, there were no signs there that the guy was going to go to jail? Like, I don't understand. Like, why do women often just ignore that part and automatically play victim? I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand it. But you have women panderers that are telling women every single thing they want to hear. Or it's not your fault. Men are narcissistic. It's not your fault. Men are manipulative. It's not your fault. Men are liars. It's not your fault. Men are cheaters. Why do we always like to infantilize women and their choices? I can tell you, every single woman I know, I'm 30 years old, she knew what she was doing. She knew that guy was a bum. She knew that guy was a reject. She knew that guy had nothing going for himself. But she liked him. She was attracted to the guy. But I just don't like how we just automatically act as if the woman is just like this, you know? Like this. I don't know. Like, there are some devious men out there. I agree. But let's stop acting like women are just this completely clueless creatures who don't know what's going on, man. Like, god damn. I'm just saying, man. Women can be panderers too. There are also women that pander to men. There's a lot of women that pander to a lot of these red pill guys. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of women, they are typically attractive women or older women. They know that if you can pander to the red pill men, you're going to get a lot of attention for them. I get it. I cannot knock the hustle. It's at the end of the day, it's all about the money, right? If you are a woman who's decently attractive or very attractive, and all you do is tell men how bad women are, you're going to get a lot of following. That is why if you see a lot of the women that typically pander to the red pill bros, what do they always do? They always put their tits out. There's this black American woman that does the same thing. She always has her tits out in front of the camera. She talks down on black women all day. That's all she does. So it happens on both sides. All she does, and it's so funny to me, is if she's a black woman, she always talks down on black women, which I find very, very funny to me. She tells the black men all they want to hear. It's never black men's fault. The black men are always innocent. So her job is to always tell black men how they are perfect. And it's all black women's fault. When she forgets that the men of every community set the standard. So women can be panderers too. And it's profitable. It's just ironic. I find it very ironic. I find it very, very ironic that the women that pander to women, a lot of women don't check them. Because a lot of these women are not telling you the full story. You have women telling you to avoid men, but these women are married. You have a lot of these women that they've built their entire platform on being anti-men. But you have to understand, these women are ugly. I'm sorry to say. These women are not attractive, bro. You got to use your brain. There's a reason why this woman is angry at the world and angry at men overall. She's not attractive. Attractive women don't become anti-men. They don't. Yes, they might talk about men being this and that, but they don't become anti-men. Attractive men don't become anti-women. Look at the red pill podcasters. How many of those guys are attractive? Not a lot of them. Attractive men don't become anti-women. Attractive women don't become anti-men. It's impossible. Because you're attractive. You will get shine. I mean, there was this red pill guy that was exposed, Andrew Wilson. And look at those guys on the water. Look at Fresh and Fit, for example. Look at Fresh and Fit. Does Fresh and Fit look like a guy that has success with women from hell to the fuck no? Look at Fresh and Fit. When I look at Fresh and Fit, the first thing I see are socially awkward guys that never got success with women. I can tell you like this. That is why anytime you see them talk, there's always rage in their eyes. There's always rage in their eyes. Myron was exposed for having his first girlfriend, I think, at 31. There's no shame there. I want to make that very clear. There's no shame in having your girlfriend later on in life. There's no shame. It is what it is. But for a guy that positioned himself as some type of authority, he's terrible to take advice from. Those are the guys that dominate the red pill. Exactly, Tariq. They got no attention in school. They got no attention in early. That's why they people like Fresh and Fit, they had no choice but to become successful and have a platform to get some attention on them. Same with the women. If you look at the women that dominates the misandrist space on TikTok, what do all these women have in common? These women are typically not attractive women. There's no body there. I'm just being honest. Go on TikTok right now. Look at the top 15 anti-men misandrists on TikTok. What do they all have in common? You think I'm lying? Go on TikTok and find misandrist TikTok. These women are not attractive. They are fat. They're overweight, grossly overweight. Bad facial structure, bad facial features. They had no choice but to become anti-men because they were not picked in the first place. And the terrible thing with this kind of women is that they're pulling other women down with them. And you guys are following it. I'm not saying men are bad. I'm not saying men are innocent. Use your brain. Of course, always use your brain. But stop letting women, just because she's a woman who's angry at the world, telling you that, oh, men are bad across the board. She's not attractive. Please, not everyone drinks some knack or cheat. And I love it. Okay? If you love it, I love it for you. I don't quite give a shit. I'm making my point. I must disagree. I enjoy my life in other ways. Travel, educate, and care for myself. I don't want. Okay. Good. Good for you. Attractive people don't become anti the other gender. That is all I'm saying. But I really want to focus on the women. I see this all the time. You have women that have never been in a healthy relationship. Am I ugly? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you're ugly or not. It's not my business. Attractive women don't become anti-men. I know that for sure. The women that I know in my life that are attractive, yes, they might have some rough times with men, but they might have some bad dating experiences. They might have some bad experiences, but they don't become anti-men. They don't. Because they're attractive. They get attention from men. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say something to the women. If you are a heterosexual woman, you care what men think. The reason you say you don't care what men think as a heterosexual woman is because you are just trying to protect yourself. It's from a trauma response. Because that's what women like to say. I don't care what men think. It's a lie. You care what men think. If you are heterosexual, and there's no shame there. If you are heterosexual as a woman, that's you're not into women, you're into men, and you are into men. You care what men think. You may not want to admit it because it's not cool in this era to say you like men or you're attracted to men. You don't care. Another thing women like to do that actually is funny is like when a woman comes online and says, I want a man, I desire a man. It's like you'll see a wave of women in the comment section trying to scare her to not go. And I always tell people this. You have to understand that dating choices, your dating experience is very personal. Dating overall is very, very individualized. It's very personalized. That's why I don't understand like dating coaches. I don't get it. Because my dating experience and your dating experience is going to be very different. So when women try to tell other women why those women who are not her should not date, it's funny to me. I think that's a red flag. It's a big time red flag. Big time red flag. It is very profitable for women to tell other women to stay away from dating. Men are not perfect creatures. There's a lot of damage done by men. Absolutely. But there's a lot of women that are in happy relationships as well. I mean, you guys see the way other women treat women that talk about how they love their husband? Have you seen it? In fact, there are women that came online and talked about how they don't like talking about their happy relationship anymore. Because anytime they post about how they love their husband, they love their relationship, other women are coming in to talk about why that husband is going to cheat on her. If she says, oh, no, my husband is okay, my husband likes to stay at home, they will say, oh, he's gay. Now, what the fuck? What the hell? It's crazy. And we cannot ignore that this is not happening. So that's why I'm telling women, be very careful. These women that have built their platforms on trying to becoming anti-men. Just like we know about the men, but we need to talk about the women because it's growing. Okay? And also understand that a lot of these women that are always preaching anti-men rhetoric, these women oftentimes don't tell you the entire story. These women are not attractive women. Even if they have a decent face, a lot of them are fat. A lot of them are grossly overweight, especially in the West. We all know how things go in the West. A lot of these women they've not had good lives. A lot of these women are coming from a place of trauma. That's just the truth. A lot of these women don't know what it's like to have a healthy relationship. Instead of them to go to therapy and work through it and maybe reflect on their dating choices, they rather come on TikTok and then start spewing hate and creating other women that look like them. That's unhealthy. All I am saying is use your coconut and think and ask questions. And also, I'm gonna say this to you, that I'm gonna give you the platform Global Champion. Always ask these women of their credentials. And sometimes I don't even blame these women because they are playing right in your face. They are playing right in your face. These women have a whole house. I mean, there's another woman, Drew Afuelo. She has a whole husband, a fiance, and she's telling you women to stay away from men or something of that nature. She has a whole husband. I mean, goddamn, like, why aren't you guys asking her, like, hold on? I mean, this is what the women always say. Men are terrible, but my own husband is the unique one. So you've built 1.something million followers on telling us how you hate men and men are this and you this men are this, but you have your own husband. And this is something that I've noticed as well. Majority, I would say up to 95% of the women that have built their platform on directly and indirectly pointing the finger of how this you should stay away from men in a way and leave men alone and this. These women are married. They've got kids. What? They're married. So it's like, why aren't women pushing back on these women? Because if these women truly cared about you, wouldn't they want to try and get other women into happy and healthy relationships like they claim to have? But they don't, because that is not profitable. Don't you see my reasoning? My reasoning is, if these women who claim that men are bad in general, but their own husband is unique, why aren't these women, if they cared about you, why didn't they try to build a platform around trying to get you into making better choices like they do? But they don't do that because it's not profitable. If they can make videos on TikTok and YouTube and talk about how terrible men are, that is more profitable. Global Champion, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, hosts, and good evening, everybody listening here. You are totally spot on. It's becoming disturbing and alarming because why I'm bothered is because the other younger women, 20, 21, 19, coming to TikTok every day, they are seeing tons of videos talking about how all men are rapists, how all men are thieves, how all men are scam. I'm like, this thing that I had to speak to one of these women that this seed of hate that you are sowing, the harvest, that when the harvest come, it not go good though, because number one, if you are preaching hate on TikTok, hate against men on TikTok, remember that you get pikin wey be daughter. You have a daughter. Your daughter will go to school. She will mix with men, and if the men keep consuming if men keep consuming content that all men are rapists, imagine a man coming to TikTok, a young man of maybe 17, 19, 20, 21, coming to TikTok every day and hearing all men are rapists, all men are thieves. He will start internalizing that narrative and start seeing himself as that. And before you know it, he will be projecting all these evil affirmations you are making onto himself and the girls or the females that he's in contact with. And like the saints, like the Bible says, whatever you sow, you will reap. You cannot sow hate and reap love. It is the energy you project on social media and on life in general that will come back to you. So if it is Clinton that offended you, mention the name. Mr. Clinton is a rapist. Mr. Clinton is a thief. Mr. Clinton is a armed robber, whatever evil he is. Not that all men are. You don't get papa, you don't get who born. Even in this life, look at the way the universe works. Everything is in both genders. Animals are in both genders. plants are in both genders, human beings are in both genders. The way God made nature, we have to function interconnectedly. No, man cannot do without woman cannot do without man. The way God made us, we are here to complement each other, not to even compete or overdo each other. So hating will not stop. Yes, am I denying the fact that there are cases of raping, kidnapping, assassination, femicide? Yes, I am not living in denial of that situation. But will hate stop the consistent rape incidents? No. It will not stop violent crimes against women. It will not stop femicide. We need to be logical. If you are making decisions to stop femicide, it is logic we need, not emotions and hate. Hate will not solve anything. Hate will not stop crime. Let us be reasonable for once. And I noticed that when I said it, everybody came after me. Hey, you are a pick me. You are pandering to men. You are looking for male validation. You want men to say that you are a good person. I was just tired. Another incident I had. This one is even on my platform. That's when I realizing. I said suspected. I'm not sure. I've not come to conclusion. These women that are even projecting it on TikTok, even I said they'll be narcissists, because it has to be a narcissist that it has to be a narcissist that will be projecting exactly the evil. You are projecting evil consistently. These are the patterns of narcissism. I remember that open life one day, and that was like some couple of months ago. I opened life, and a man sent a request that I should add him up. I added him up. All those women came after, all those feminists. I don't even know if they'll be feminists. They came after me. Why did you add the man up? Don't you know that? I said, somebody I don't know. I don't even know his name. I don't know anything about him. At least let me even hear whatever he has to say. As long as he's respectful, he makes his point. Why do I now need to start attacking him? They were trying to recruit me into hate. I said, how can I be fighting who not offend me? This is madness. And it's not getting to look like cultism to me. I remember, I don't know whether you're in Nigeria or you understand Nigeria system, but I remember when I was in the university, if one cult group come to you and say no, they will start targeting you for hate and bully, or even unaliving you. And I noticed that is how this feminist group, or anywhere they see you like this, all of them, they will gang up themselves like this. All of them will recruit themselves and gang up against that person. They'll be targeting that person. So they are now moving like cultists. This is no longer gender equality. This is now looking like a sanity to me. And if you keep saying attacking all men, remember you have fathers, you have brothers, you have oga at work that is a man. And so the thing is that if you are saying you hate all men, you also hate yourself, because as far as you have a biological relationship with men who are your father, brother, uncle. So let's be reasonable. Let's solve these issues with common sense and reasonable behavior. That's my take on the matter. Thank you.
No, global champion. I hear you. I hear you. I mean, personally, I have nothing wrong against feminism. Feminism is good. I think it's good. I think a lot of people, especially people in Africa, don't understand what feminism actually is. Especially the men. Feminism is good. If you're a woman, I'm going to say this to all the women, especially the women that like to talk against feminism. I'm going to tell you guys, especially African women, feminism is the reason why women can have bank accounts. Feminism is the reason why women can own homes. Feminism is part of the reason why women can actually get a lot of things that you have today in 2025. Let us not discount the relevance of feminism. And the reason why a lot of African men, particularly, don't like feminism is because feminism gives women independence. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am all for that. What I don't like, as you said, global champion, for me, is that radical stuff that it just becomes into. That's not feminism, actually. That's not actually feminism. And I don't think it's fair to tag that as feminism. I think what I don't like is the misandrist or misandrism. I think that's the right term. It's not feminism. Feminism is not feminism. Please do not interrupt me. I let you speak for like 5 minutes, please. I will let you speak. Don't worry. Feminism is not anti-man. That's something I think a lot of people miss. Feminism is good. I like it. What I don't like is what I've put here, the pandering to women that becomes anti-men, because that's where it's just, in my opinion, unattractive women recruiting other women to join their sadness. Because as a man who deals with women, I care what women think. I enjoy female validation. What's wrong with that? We are social creatures. What's wrong for a woman to say, I want a man's attention? What's wrong for a what's wrong for a heterosexual woman to say, I care what men think? There's nothing wrong with that. I also think there's an aspect of like lesbianism pipeline, which again, I don't care, right? It's like this, leave men, join me. Like there's nothing wrong with if you're attracted to the same sex or the same gender. But I just feel like it's now becoming almost like an insult for women, for heterosexual women to say, I desire a man, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, there's this article that also went viral talking about is having a boyfriend embarrassing. What kind of article is that? And you see, but I saw a lot of women that hopped on that and said, yeah, having a boyfriend is embarrassing. But what if I told you that that lady that wrote that article just a couple of months before she wrote that article, she too was talking about how she was looking for a husband or a boyfriend and she was looking for companionship. She wrote that article out of frustration because months prior, she was talking about how she was looking for a husband and she was looking for companionship. So she's angry. She wrote that thing out of anger. But a lot of women read the title of it. Yeah, having a boyfriend is embarrassing. How is having a boyfriend embarrassing? How is having a boyfriend embarrassing? Having a boyfriend is not embarrassing. Having a terrible boyfriend is embarrassing. Like, we need to stop acting like women are sugar and spice and everything nice. As if women don't play their role as if women don't play a role into the bad treatment they receive. Like, there are terrible men out there. I'm not going to deny that. But this conversation is very nuanced. This is a nuanced conversation. It's a very nuanced conversation. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's nuanced. Two things can exist at the same time. All I am saying is that women need to open up their mind and understand that a lot of these women who have built their platform on spewing anti-men rhetoric, these women are not your friends. These women see you as prophets. These women are angry. These women are losers. These women are unattractive. Attractive women don't become anti-men. Attractive men don't become anti-women. I love women. I am very attracted to women. I desire women validation. I desire women companionship. I love having women around me. There's no shame there. And if you are a woman and you are attracted to, and you are heterosexual, there's nothing wrong with you desiring male attention. There's nothing wrong with you desiring male validation. There's nothing wrong there. You can come online and say you can come online and say you don't desire it, but that's a lie. And because if you think that just because you come on TikTok and you say that all the time, that's not true. And I'll tell you this for free and prove me wrong. Show me an attractive woman who is anti-men. You don't find that. If you take the top, go on TikTok search bar right now and type in anti-men or heterosexual, whatever. All the top 20 women you're going to see that I'm not talking about the women that make one video out and then the rest is maybe she's a fashion content creator and then maybe she posts one that she's angry at men and then she goes back to making content on fashion. I'm talking the women that sit on TikTok lives for hours daily talking about men and then they'll put heartbreak or men put crying emoji. What do all these women have in common? They are fat. They look busted. They are usually very fat, very rotund. Whether they are black, white, or anything, that's what they look like. You don't see a slim, fit, attractive woman sitting on TikTok live talking about how bad men are, and that's our entire spiel. I guarantee you, I know at least 5 that comes to my mind right now. All of them, across the board, they all have the same look. Those are the kind of people that become anti-men. You don't see attractive women who have had healthy experiences, who get validation. Yes, everybody has terrible experiences. Do you want me to start telling you all the negative experiences I've had with women? We will be here till tomorrow. But I am not anti-women because I still get validation from women. And I love women. Same applies to the female gender. You don't see gym girls, you don't see models, you don't see average-looking, good, decent women who look good sitting on TikTok talking about men. Oh, God dang, I don't trust them. They are not attractive women. They're genuinely not. And also, a lot of these women that you see building platforms, they will put heavy makeup on their face, and it just looks sad on their face. You feel sorry for them, even with the makeup on. It's like, God damn, this woman, she looks like she has been crying all night. It's like she's crying out for help. There's this woman that she comes on TikTok and it's like she's trying hard to show us how lovely her life is. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, of course, the women she's pandering to, they're like, yes, 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 queen, yes. As a man, I'm like, I don't know. I see the crow's feet, bro. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I see the crow's feet, bro. I get the Shiraz. I get the pizzazz, but I can see the cracks, man. I see the cracks, man. I see the cracks. Never even been in a relationship, yet you have all the fucking smoke. And go ahead. Sorry to Global Champion. You wanted to say something quickly before I go to Eno. So I hope you understood what I meant. Feminism is not a bad thing in my opinion. Feminism contributed to the reason why women have a lot of tools today. Misandry is the issue.
Sorry. Sorry, I represented the word. I misused the words. I meant misandry, not feminism. I mean, misandry and feminism, they are miles apart. They have nothing in common. Misandry is the hate against men. Feminism is advocating for gender equality in fairness and justice in all spheres of life. So, I mean, there are two parallel things. They have nothing in common. Sorry, I meant misandry. I mistake it for feminism because
you're fine.
Because I noticed that and I remember I said this, if you're a misandrist, come out with your full chest and say you're a misandrist. No problem. You will see people that believe in your school of thought. But don't be a misandrist and not be hiding under the umbrella of feminism and be calling yourself feminist when you know in your mind that you are not. So it is the wrong use of word I used. My apologies, Jared. So I said, let me make a correct it.
No, you're fine,
so that I don't send the wrong information.
You're fine. Eno, go ahead. Thank you, Global Champion. Eno, go ahead.
So I've made my point. Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. And are you there? You're on mute. I just sent you an invitation to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I think it's I'm good, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
It's actually, I don't know. I don't even know if it's rage baiting. I've tried to avoid these videos that I'm coming across. But it's kind of sad that it's almost like we're at war, gender wars, and the primary problem I have with this is basically the grooming of young women. It's actually scary, very scary. I think I shared with you a story of how I was on this live. We're talking about something completely different. It's almost like now if you're a woman and you believe in relationships and you're married, and people that have been married before have had a bad experience, you become the enemy. They call you all sorts of names. Even when things are not even related to that, they throw jabs at you. And I'm just like, what is the problem? If feminism, it's about our rights, then we should have a right not to agree with you. I'm a feminist in the African way. I mean, I joined one of the lives where, Kingsley, I think I told you this, where one of those girls had the audacity to be talking bad about Chimamanda. I was like, who are you? You know who Chimamanda is? Just because she doesn't agree or she sees something differently. You cannot be more feminist than Chimamanda. That's how she grew her career. That's what the world knows her for. But just because you, this aggressive, very bitter and unhealed women who do not want to take accountability for things in your life that are not working, you have now, if people don't agree with you, they are the enemy. I was like, how dare you? I don't even remember what Chimamanda said something about trans rights. She said something about trans rights in a recent interview like a couple of months ago. And these very people that know nothing, like your level of education is not even a scratch of what she is. Your global influence does not pass your local government if you are in Abuja somewhere. But you have the audacity to open your mouth and be talking rubbish just because Chimamanda said we cannot integrate. And that's how you know they are illiterate. How can you even think that women's right and trans right are interrelated? No, trans right is trans right. Women's right are women's right. These are illiterate people that are now on the internet making noise. And if feminism is about freedom of right, if somebody wants to be a pick-me, leave her alone. I think the latest one now is this comedian girl. She's a Nigerian girl married to a Ghanaian, And she's not really my favorite kind of person, but she's on the internet just praising her husband. Kingsley, that's what they are just, everybody's making video about. I don't even know her name, but that's what everybody's talking about. And I'm like, if you people really about freedom, she's talking about her faith, how Christianity and blah, blah, blah. And I don't really care about her faith, to be honest. But the point is, if feminism is about rights and equality of women, if other women choose not to agree with you, it should be okay. You should say, okay, we don't have to agree on everything. And I was telling one of the ladies, that's why the word feminine is something I stay away from, because I don't know what it means. If it was the first wave of feminism, I'm a feminist. But in this wave, I don't even know what this wave is about. I know this wave is breeding, it's a breeding ground for lots of bitter people when they go. Usually, they have a bad experience with men, or they don't want to take accountability for the things in their lives that they don't want to fix. It's those women that will say, yeah, just because I like a man, he must like me. He does not like her, then now she's anti-men and she wants to breed other women. Kingsley, let me take a break here.
The initial definition is a fantastic thing. I think it's great. What we have currently and what I'm talking about now is not feminism. It's just more. It's a circle jerk of miserable people. And I feel like people don't talk about this enough. Where women that are angry at something specific, typically a dating situation, which could genuinely be unfortunate, right? Are trying to recruit other women to be also angry and miserable. I mean, before I deleted all my videos on TikTok, you had a woman, she went semi-viral, very angry, talking about how women always talk about miserable men, miserable relationship. But anytime she posts about how she's happy in a happy relationship and it's a healthy dynamic, the same women are going to be trying to find holes, like, oh, he's going to cheat on you, he's oppressing you. Or when she cooks for her husband, I say, oh, this is what I made for my husband, I just love to cook. I say, why can't he cook for himself? And it's like, I see why you're not partnered up. You're a miserable person. You're a miserable person. And I'm just saying this to women, like, you got to understand, as a man who has seen behind the scenes from a lot of these women that are putting up these fronts, you know, a lot of these women, they're crying behind the scenes, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not saying all of them, but goddamn, especially to these women that always that have this laser focus on being anti-men. A lot of them, it's not coming from a healthy place. That much I can tell you for sure. It's not coming from a healthy place. It's coming from usually it's coming from a hurt, trauma. I mean, there was this lady, she has all the smoke for men, and come to find out, she has never even been in a relationship. God, so I'm like, what? Then what is she talking about? She's never been in a relationship. She's never had beyond paternal stuff. She's never had experience. So it's like, why are women listening to her giving all these theories? I'm just like, you do realize that there are women that are in happy relationships. You do realize there's a large number of good and decent men out there. Just because you didn't know how to get one doesn't mean they don't exist. There's a lot of women, every single woman I know in my circle are in very healthy relationships. They will even tell you whether they are in interracial relationships or not. I know a girl that's married to a Nigerian man, she's happy. I know a woman that's married, and in Switzerland, there's a lady married to a Swiss guy. They are cool. It's happened. There's black men that are in healthy relationship with black women. This idea that black men and black women are just animals coming at each other's neck, that is not true. There's a lot of healthy black relationships in America, in Europe, in Africa. Where are you looking? Of course, you're not going to see those relationships because your entire FYP is fucked up. I don't see chaos on my FYP. What did they see? Exactly. Jinako, I'm not going to lie. No. Most women don't pretend to be in a happy relationship. That's a lie. You are part of the problem. You are part of the problem. You like to sow these seeds. You like to sow these seeds.
I'm not pretending.
Now, in Africa, I can understand to an extent because you kind of have no choice. But
it's not true.
But still, like
It's not true, even in
but
Africa.
I just don't like this idea that, oh, it's just marriage is just it's horrible. Are you in a marriage, Jinaku? Have you had experience of healthy marriages? Like, this is my issue. Like, a lot of you come online and you put this thing out there and you are making marriages and relationships look like this scary thing. I'm gonna let you talk in a minute, Becca, but there's another thing that women do that I think people need to start calling them out on is anytime a woman is complaining about not having dating success, you will see a lot of women in the comment section talking about, oh, you're not missing out on anything. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm sorry to tell you. Same with men. If you are in a healthy dynamic, you cannot compare it. If you are in a happy and healthy relationship, be it as a boyfriend or girlfriend, husband and wife, fiance, whatever, or any other tag you want to qualify it, nothing beats it. It's a special thing. You cannot describe it. So let's stop trying to create this negativity associated to marriages, associated to relationships. Women do this, oh, yo, you're not missing out on much, girl. You're not missing out on much. What do you mean by that? And the whole time, the woman that's telling you that you're not missing out on much, if you look at her dating history, nothing but bumps, nothing but straight bumps. And the last thing I heard was when a woman was trying to talk about how dating is terrible. Come to find out, the men she used to date, most of them went to jail. I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? And the women in the panel were like, oh. I'm like, what do you mean, oh? What do you mean the men you were dating went to jail? Like it's some normal thing. Most men don't go to jail. So that means if you were dealing with men that had a propensity to end up in jail or something close to the prison system, madam, clearly there is some character issues there. Because regular men don't just wake up in the morning and then end up in jail at nighttime unless something extraordinary happens. There is usually a pattern that happens to it. All I want is for women to start asking questions at the very least. Just because the woman is saying things you like to hear doesn't mean that she cannot be challenged. A lot of the women that are spewing anti-men rhetoric, they are married. There's about 5 women that I know right now. I think I've told you about them. I'm not going to name them on live stream. There's about 5 women. One is a big-time TikTok content creator. She does stitches. She will always teach the negative things men do. She's married with kids. There's one on YouTube. She even put feral feminist in her name. She's always talking about terrible men. She's married though, with kids. I'm like, there's another one that she always talks about what black men are doing, and black men are shitty, and black men this, black men that, black men don't do. She's married to a black man. She's married to a black man for decades. But she's been able to build a healthy YouTube channel, a TikTok channel, which I'm sure she's getting. She's paying some bills off that. I won't be surprised. But that's all she talks about. She sometimes talks about black women here and there, but she predominantly talks about what the bad things black men are doing. And she even says, oh, majority of black men are not good. But madam, you're married to a black man. But you know what they always say? They always say, oh, majority of black men are bad. But my own black man that I'm married to, he's the few good one. How convenient, huh? Go on, Eno. How convenient.
Yeah, it's actually sad just reading the comments. Even the kind of things that people are writing in the comments, they're good and bad people in both genders. But what is a little bit scary is this idea that if you're a man, you're automatically an animal. You are, the bear versus man discussion. I was just like, you people are not serious. You people are not serious at all. Because I was telling you how one of those conversations I joined because I thought it was about something else, and all of a sudden, this girl now says to me, I think Kingsley, I sent you her video. I don't want to mention her name. She says to me, oh, in case you don't know, on this platform, all men are narcissists. So even though you are married, because I was talking about my grandpa, actually, how amazing my grandpa was and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, fine. I did not know him as a romantic partner. I knew him as my grandpa. I'm sure he wasn't. This girl says to me, just so you know, on this platform, we believe that all men are narcissists and capable of evil. So including the person that you are married to. I just came off the line because if I had said what I wanted to say, TikTok would ban me or something. Because I was like, you are mad. You must be mentally ill for you to even conceive the idea. That means if you have a son, your son is evil. That's what you're trying to say. But can you imagine the kind of dangerous women that are emerging? What kind of children they will be raising, both male and female? Can you imagine the kind of world that we're having? Instead of people to go to therapy and heal and take me, when I look at this issue, what I largely see, and like you said, I don't like talking badly about other women, but it's just a bit upsetting to me. And I always don't see a woman that is happy with herself, that looks like she's happy, that's taking accountability for herself, and does not have anything in her life that she wants to lean on as an excuse for her hateful behavior. You're not going to see her talking about that. You're not going to, if do you know how many bad relationships have been? If it's by heartache, I qualify to be anti-men. If it's by that. But out of the billions of people in the world, how myopic would I have to be to use that my experience to now, all men are this, all men are narcissists, all men are evil? When I hear that, I'm just like, these people they're actually dangerous people. They're actually dangerous people. And I told you how on that live, this girl was telling me, she basically put me on the spot. And next thing you know, we move from talking about something else that we're talking about to somehow back to marriage. If you're a woman in this generation, you should not marry. Marriage does not benefit you. Having children, I was like, let me tell you people something. I gracefully disagree. If you're a woman, if you're a man, if marriage is what you want, do it. There are many people that have done, there are so many happy people. They are not on the internet talking rubbish. If you check their holiday pictures, I know many people that are happily married, including in Africa.
Yes, there's
my own uncles. Their wives will tell you how amazing of a husband that they are. Is it always easy? No, but they are amazing marriages. They are amazing families. But so if you use your experience to say all men are evil, then I just look at you like you're a mad person. But I just feel like also we need to have these conversations more, because it's becoming like they are the loudest voice, number one. Number two, before I hand back over to you, Kingsley, we need to go back to shaming them into their own experience. Because if you look at it, like that video I sent to you, that you told me that she eventually deleted, the two pioneers of that, one of them is married. I was like, first of all, you are married, so you're not even qualified. If you want to be whatever you are, feminine, aggressive, feminine, whatever you're doing on the internet, leave your husband, then I'll respect you. So, okay, because I hate men, I've left my husband. If I have a son, I don't want to raise him because he's evil. I'll respect you. She married one man out of billions, and suddenly all men are evil. It's actually disgusting. Your experience, my experience is not a standard.
You have to understand something. One thing I've noticed about women is a lot of women will use certain words in a way to try and make you feel. A lot of women love to use this shaming. It's a way for you to now feel insecure of what you're saying. You were not shaming anybody.
Bad things. You don't know how I grew up. You don't know all the bad things I've had to overcome in my own personal life. But when it comes to romantic relationship, at some point in my life, I had to take a personal look at myself, because my happiness is not dependent on who chooses me, where I stay, where I decide to. If someone is treating me bad, I leave, for God's sake. Did I always leave all the time? No, not sometimes. Sometimes it took me 2 years, 3 years, because I'll only stay where I'm happy. I don't believe in all those for better, for worse. If it doesn't work for me, I'm out. That's how I live my life. That's the motto of my life. I'll leave it here for now.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And I'll say this, and then we'll go to Fairy. I still think that from my own observation, a lot of the women that are very anti-men, who have built a platform of this on social media, a lot of these women are not attractive. They're just not. As a man who is attracted to women, I know it's important, and you might think I'm being funny. Whether you like it or not, I'll tell you this: there's a correlation between attractiveness or lack of it and being anti the other gender.
Wouldn't you say?
Do not interrupt me. You guys don't understand. I let people talk, even if you want to talk 5 minutes. I just don't like when somebody's hopping in, because then I'm trying to, you know what I mean? You will talk, I assure you. In fact, you'll have a lot of time. But let me learn. There is a strong correlation between attractiveness or lack of it and being anti the other gender. Take the red pill, for example. If you see the loudest men in the red pill space, are these the men that most women are going to actively go after if they had a choice? No, no. So if it applies to men, why do you think it doesn't apply to women? Because I know women love to do this thing where it applies to men, and they will even, a lot of the women will agree with me when I'm talking about the men, but as soon as you want to now use that same logic for women, all of a sudden they don't understand English anymore. Most of the men that are anti-women, because the red pill is very anti-women, yes, they say they are not, but they are. Men like Andrew Tate, men like Fresh and Fit, men like the whatever podcast. What well-balanced woman who has a healthy or decent self-esteem and has options is willingly going to date those guys without some type of incentive? Not many. It applies to women as well. If you look at the women that are the equivalent of Fresh and Fit, there's a lot of them. These women are not attractive, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. They are not the standard of their community. Most of these women have three things in common. They are very overweight. They look busted. They look miserable. They look fed up with life. And it makes sense. Nobody wants to hang out with you. You're not attracted to women because if you were, you wouldn't be talking about men, but you're talking about men because you know deep down you've been rejected from the pool. It is what it is, and I don't expect you guys to accept it, but it's the truth. You don't see attractive women who are decently attractive. I'm not saying you have to be runway model, but you don't see women who have had some type of positive experiences with men at some points in their life. Because I know we've all had negative experiences. Me too. Me too with women. I have. And I'm sure you have too, Ferry. Ferry. But the thing is, we don't become extremists because we know. I don't know. I've never seen what Ferry looks like, but I've seen Eno. We're not unattractive people, right? We know that we can have negative things happen with us, but we chuck it to the game. It's just what it is. You move on, you learn, you move on. You don't have the time to build a platform on women. Women are terrible. Women are bad. They just want you for your money. I don't like women. All they are good for is for knacking. Women this. Man, I could easily just be like this, change the platform to women suck. Women are hypergamous by nature. If you don't have a 7-inch cock, if you're not 10 foot tall, if you don't have $6 million in your bank, women will not want to deal with you. Is your cock not big enough? They will not deal with you. And I even have the hoodie on. All I need is sunshade. In fact, look, I've got the red pill starter kit here. You see, this is the red pill starter kit. I've got the red pill starter kit right here. I could easily pivot, but I don't do that because I love women. I enjoy women. I can never hate women because I love women. I love feminine energy. I like talking to women. When I see women on my panel engaging with me, I love it. When I go outside and I'm talking to my female acquaintances, I love it. I enjoy it. So when I see all these red pill guys talking about how women this, women, I'm like, yo, bro, that's weird. That is weird. Women have always loved me. I will be remiss to say women have treated me bad overall. I have had some negative experiences with women, but as I live, right hand up, I have always had positive treatment from women overall, from whichever culture. So I cannot be anti-women because women treat me good. So women that have had positive experiences with men, why would they become anti-men? There's no incentive. Ferry, go ahead. Sorry, dear. I almost turned red pill in the middle of my speech.
That's fine. I don't see. This is the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with what you guys are saying, but I feel like we're forgetting to mention like some of these women. I'm not gonna say they're unattractive because I feel bad, but I'm gonna say conventionally. Okay, they're not conventionally attractive, right? I find that these women actually tend to be more male-centered. They tend to like be pick-me's and go overexert themselves and try and be a service to a man. I feel like there's it's like the two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? So I feel like that we have to mention that as well. That's another factor.
Greetings, good morning. I just want to say I'll talk about my experience of how I came into trying to navigate around the feminist mindset. I'm not saying I'm fully a feminist because I have men in my life that I honor and I love and support, but I won't turn a blind eye to women who have had negative experiences with men. I don't agree with painting all men with one brush. And I think to the women who have created panels, I don't see it from the perspective of them brainwashing. I see it as a perspective of them offering support, advice, and open panel for women who have had negative experiences with men. Women that I think have had a huge impact, sorry, I've got a flu, on my perspective of men are the married women who have been in long-term marriages, come on TikTok and talked about their experiences, whether it was over 25 years and they've ended in divorce. They're sharing their knowledge. And my upbringing, even till now, like with my parents, I'm just 26, I'm learning so much. I learn a lot from the women who are married, and a lot of them are tolerating a lot of things that I personally don't think I want to experience when I go into a relationship. And then at the same time, I think, when they kind of like silence when these women speak, they call them bitter. I'm like, so should she not express what she has experienced? So I feel like if a woman feels influenced, I don't think you can influence a woman to see men a certain way unless she has had an experience that is negative that she relates to. And I think that if anything, that could be the pulling power that some feminists have. And also, we live in a world where women from very young have been incentivized to build themselves from a male gaze. So I think for me, it's having a voice in the first place. And what I was saying about even my upbringing, and it's typical because I'm Nigerian, everything that goes on in your marriage stays behind closed doors. So most of the time, you don't really know what women are experiencing. So when women come on social media and just talk about their experiences, as a young woman, I'm gonna take the knowledge and pick up of what they're saying, not to discriminate men, but to make a wiser, more informed choice. Either way, you have to kind of like be self-aware. And I just also wanted to say, I don't really think it's about whether they're attractive, whether they're rejected. The women that I think I've learned the most from are ones who have been in relationships, both good and bad, because they are being accountable for their poor choices, and they're giving you the signs of what a red flag looks like, and not to romanticize all aspects of life when it comes to a relationship, because it can have detrimental effects on women. And also I've seen women coming on the app that are suffering from depression from being in the wrong relationship. And I don't know why, but every time the lady that was speaking before me, when she said the women that speak up about these things have to be shamed, I disagree, because shaming kind of silences women from saying how they feel. And at the same time, it's like, I don't know, the way you said it just made me feel like this is why a lot of women won't speak up, and then you've kind of like reinforced a cycle of where some women will stay in abusive relationships because of what people are gonna say, or because of shaming. The people that
No, no,
should be
I think
shamed
no,
are
no,
the
I think. So what we're not going to do is turn this conversation into something that it's not. I've listened to you, and I don't think you mean it. I think you don't realize you're doing it. You are making it sound like we are talking about women that are in abusive relationships from not speaking up. If you read, that's definitely not what we are talking about. We're also not talking against. We're not talking against feminism. I don't know when you joined the live, I said feminism is good. It's great. We're talking about the misandry aspect of the conversation. We don't like that. That's why you see the term about panderers. What is pander? All I want us to do is stay within the context of the conversation. I don't want us to go out. Oh, if we shame the women for speaking out, then they won't speak. It's almost like you're implying that we are saying, oh, women should just shut up and absorb abuse. That's not what we are talking about. What I am talking about is the women that are the anti-men, that are telling women who are hurt what they want to hear, to perpetuate the rhetoric of all men, the narratives of that. If you look at the prompt, it's there. These women are not telling you the full story. It's profitable for people to tell men and women. Men are also included, if you notice, that there are women that also pander to men, in the sense of telling men what they want to hear against women. So it's not just anti-women, there's also anti-men, there's also anti-women. There are women who pander to red pill men to push anti-women rhetoric. So it's actually both sides, but I'm a man, so I speak on what I see for the women's side. Does that help you frame the conversation a little bit more? you started off
Yeah.
well, but then you're going off into a tangent where it's like,
No,
when,
it's just
when
it's just
women
that at the
speak
time.
about their experience, their negative experience, we shouldn't shame them we should tell them we should kind of make them not speak. That is not what we are talking about. We are focusing on the extremes.
Okay, at the time when I joined, I think it was when you guys were looking at the characteristics of certain women who do build the platforms, and then she made that statement. I think overall, yes, I agree that the women who are anti-men have had poor experiences with men, and if anything, what I take as a neutral observer, as someone who just goes on social media, I listen to these women for the warning. I listen to them for, like I haven't, I won't say I don't know much about men, but I've not had a relationship. And I'm not going to go into it blindly with a romanticized kind of view. I'm not saying I'm going to experience things the same way every woman does, but I'm also going to learn from bad examples. I just think it's about focusing on the particular traits of men who are not doing it the right way, men who are being abusive. I can understand why they have that attachment. There's a reason behind that pain, and you're right. You're very right. It's the women who are vulnerable or who have had bad experiences with men. That is usually going to be their audience,
But
but it doesn't
yeah,
allow for the healing.
yeah.
It just continues to build a bigger hole, and that's not really healthy.
Got you, guys. Please just let's try and get the live to like 10K likes overall, please. It's not much. Let's just tap the screen. You guys, okay? We all use our fingers, if you know what I mean. Since you guys don't want to tap, I'm gonna plant plant a motto in all of your heads. So the panelists and those in the comment section, we all use our fingers. Some of us use all 5 of the fingers. Some of us use 2 fingers. Some of us use 1 finger. We all use our fingers. Can you just help your boy out? Use your goddamn fingers and tap the bloody screen. Can you do me that solid? Now that I'm telling you guys to use your fingers to help Kingsley out, you guys are being selfish. But once you clock out of this life now, you go into your room, now you remember you've got fingers. Some of you even use 10 fingers. Use your fingers and help your boy out, please. Thank you. And you see now that there's laughing emojis in there. Help your boy out, Joe. Don't be selfish with your fingers. Look at you. You want to, Ferry dropped and Evolve dropped. You want to give a quick, I was going to say give a response, but she's not here. But otherwise, we can just go to Cristobal. You got a comment or two?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me up, firstly.
I was asking if...
Firstly, interesting. That's a very interesting topic because I've been thinking a lot about that recently. Just kind of social media and the space that's been created by effectively what I think are grifters. I do want an example though, just to get a bit more understanding. What does a anti-woman panderer look like?
Okay, so I'm gonna give an example without as much giving of who I'm. So, for example, I'm sure you know the red pill, right? Like the extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys typically tend to be anti-women. So what you didn't have is you have anti-women in the sense of it's always women's fault. They like women typically for sex. They don't hate women. They don't see women more than just a whole. They say they don't, but when you listen to them talk, they do. Come on, we're not kids. But you have women. Okay, you now have women that pander to those men, and it's always they always tell those men what they need to hear about, like validating their bias towards women. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just wanted to, I know exactly the kind of like female content creator you're speaking of. I just wanted to make sure it was aligning with the prompt. And I think it's very interesting to me because effectively I find it I align it almost with like a drug dealer, personally, in a sense of effectively you're serving a market, you're serving an audience, and it's another form of a dopamine or oxytocin rush. You know what I'm saying? Like it's maybe less chemistry and more social, emotional, mental, but it is effectively, it's almost like, like whether it be a pharmaceutical drug company or someone dealing off the road, it's effectively that. And I think where my concern is I'm lucky enough to be at an age and being a part of a generation that has lived half of their life digital and half of their life analog. What I mean by that is because you learning your social skills, social cues, communication skills, interpersonal skills before the advent and the popularity of social media, right? But you're still part of the digital age, right? That's still another half of life. And I think what it enables you to do, if you're savvy enough, is you're able to discern as best as you can. It's not perfect all the time, man. But you're able to discern essentially.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it enables you to discern between people, whether it be like specifically online, because that's what we're talking about. That I guess are being genuine and when they're not being genuine. And I think my issue is that literacy is already a problem in Western society, England to be more specific. But what I think is equally a need for people today is to be media literate. And that's essentially when I asked you to give me an example, I knew exactly what kind of content creators you're talking about. I could probably name a couple. And what I find is if your message is very specific and there's basically just a lack of objectivity, there's a lack of nuance, and there's a lot of like just certain elements that you can see, certain components where you can be like, okay, I'm speaking to a specific kind of person and I'm never given any other side of it, then it's very easy to tell, in my opinion, okay, there's a reason why they're doing it. And obviously there's money involved, getting certain followers, engagement, it pays to be polarizing, especially on social media. So I think that's what it looks like. And I think what us normies have to do, especially for consuming this, or just social media in general, is we really have to like do better with not giving any more legs to these kind of content creators. They have their fan base already. What we don't need to do is react and do reaction.
It's a large market, Christopher.
Yeah.
It's a profitable market too. Very profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially in this day and age, in this economy, man, like, well, I can make money. On top of my career, I can just do videos every now and again where I'm basically going at women or I'm going at men. And there's going to be thousands of people in my comments validating what I'm saying. And the views are high. And like rage baiting. The thing that I find scary is rage baiting isn't even just a content creator thing anymore. Regular people will be on TikTok lives like this. And where people like us are trying to have a good faith conversation, even if we're on two different sides of the argument, there'll be someone that will just say things to rage bait. And sometimes they're actually rage baiting men or rage baiting women. So it's not even for me just the panderers that make the content, but it's trickled down to people on panels or on Clubhouse or on Twitter that are saying things to get a reaction.
But
specifically
I would say
to gender identity.
I would say this, Cristobal, right? And feel free to hop in because we can have an open conversation. Is that personally, as a I don't know if I can call myself a content creator. I guess I am. I've noticed that especially in the black space, a lot of black content creators are lazy as fuck, man. I gotta say, to your point, Cristobal, about the rage bait, I've noticed that. I would say over 98% of rage baiters, a lot of them, a lot of like the black content creators, 98% of them, bro, a lot of them, they use rage bait as a way to just host their live streams because it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, I know we don't have a lot of people here, but I guarantee you, if I change this prompt into something anti-men or anti-women and make it like,
bro,
black men are shit.
Bro, I know this. Bro. I know this. I've been using TikTok Live like regularly, more regularly for the last like 9 to 12 months. And like, it shocks me, bro. It shocks me the amount of prompts I see, whether it be UK people, US people, because I'm Congolese, right? So, and I was born in France. So
no,
like,
I hate you, bro.
Why are you Nigerian?
We should hate Cristobal, bro. These guys kicked us out of the World Cup, man. Fuck y'all.
I'm sorry, my guy.
Fuck y'all, man.
I'm sorry, my guy. I'm sorry, my guy. You should have never told me this.
Use witchcraft. It doesn't count.
Oh, nah, bro. Everything you've said before is invalid now. I'm sorry, bro. God damn. I'm just fucking with you. Go on.
I ain't gonna lie to you. The week we beat you, I did not let my Nigerian people go for a week. I was on your necks on social media, all of the memes. I was on the lives. Listen, I was attracting Congolese people to the lives. It was crazy. I had to let you guys. And for me, do you know what I love about this? Sorry, just for the quick deflection, is the possibility of playing Jamaica in the playoff final. Do you understand? That will be like a moment for Black Britain when my people will become a dominant culture. Sorry, I'm thinking about like some super villain plans right now. I'm sorry. But yeah.
But no. Sorry.
But-
I mean, I started the paper, and I wanted to hop in or quickly or what?
I was going to say that
She's
one of
Nigerian
the
too,
craziest thing about that match was after the match, our coach he really believed that it was witchcraft.
Oh my God.
Days.
I'm like,
No, they use witchcraft. I was like,
Becca, I thought, listen, that was straight out of a comedy skit. I don't know if I was watching
But was that
I
for
watched
real,
it
though?
straight after.
yes.
I thought
He
that
was
was
Not the
serious.
juju, but like the interview.
No.
Coach,
So
yeah.
that was real. He said that.
Yes.
Oh shit.
And he was so serious. Even the interviewer was a bit confused because he was like, Juju, I saw them. Just like, dude, we lost. That's it.
And like even watching it live, yeah, when this is before the interview, when you saw him run over, because everything was peaceful. It wasn't like a very violent match or nothing like that. And then when you see him run over, you're like, nah, something is in his spirit that he just had to like let out. Like, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, I still love all my Nigerian people, man.
No. Oh, all good. No, it's okay.
Listen, man. Listen, AFCON is coming soon. You may see us in AFCON. You may be able to get some sort of vengeance, maybe.
I don't know. But Congo is legit, though. Congo's legit.
Even me, I was surprised at that game. Even me.
They're legit. I mean, Nigeria has been. Nigeria is weird, bro. So I know we're going a bit into it, but fuck it.
For me, it's not. It doesn't start with the players, man. Like it starts with what's happening upstairs.
Yeah?
They don't look after them. They don't look after them, man.
They don't. Fair. They don't. I mean, because a lot of these Nigerian players, if you see the way they go hard for their clubs, bro, they go hard for.
Bro, I know. And for me, I feel like that's the thing with African football on the international level, man. Like the teams that tend to do well are the teams where there's more unity from like the executives to players to coaching staff. You know, like. But a lot of it is, and this is even at club level. Like one day, I'd like to think one day I'll be involved, like working in the African game. But like the thing, I would be like, no, like me coming from Europe, me being a part of the football industry in Europe and England, I understand professionalism is necessary. Like if you're competitive, you shouldn't be, you know, especially when like the pride, like like football for me as an individual, think about it for our country, for a nation, like it is a outlet for unity and identity and pride, and it's just like we could have a different live about this. I could speak about this for 3 hours, bro. So let's not get too sidetracked.
But let's.
Is actually in good faith, and 80% of it is just like like and I think it's easy, especially when someone gets popular initially. Like I find that's happened quite a lot. Like even not to say that I liked the Fresh and Fit show as an example, right? Obviously, Fresh and Fit, but it was interesting to me, right? And then even with like guys like Derek Jackson, who was more of I won't say anti-men. I don't know if he was anti-men, but like he was a panderer, right?
He was Pandora Supreme.
Yeah, like that man was a panderer. But I guess to your point, what's become interesting, even if you're thinking about like even the Caucasian content creators, so someone like Just Pearly Things, like you know, right? Yeah, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is interesting from like an entertainment, but also like a social study. You know, like you want to kind of know what's happening in the zeitgeist, regardless, right? But it's just like, like, give it a look. It doesn't take long to realize, okay, I see what she's doing. I see what kind of guest she has on, right? Even with the male, I even, do you know where it gets even way more sophisticated? So someone like, King Riches?
King Riches, he's a black dude, big dude, right?
Yeah. I
used to watch him 2 years ago, but I think I just lost interest. Yeah. Because it's the same thing he talks about, No?
Right, and do you know what I found interesting?
What?
When he would do like a live. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And what I found particularly interesting is when he's doing a live, he will never ever deal with other men.
Oh.
So it will just be speaking to women. And what I say is not because he's pandering to them, and I don't think he's necessarily pandering to men either, but what they will do is, okay, I will get more traction because of the views that he has. I will get more traction going back and forth with women.
Oh yeah. Easy,
right?
Easy fix.
To be fair, Kevin Samuels did very similar. Like as soon as he got popular and viral, you notice he stopped talking to men. He would talk to men on like podcasts. Even Fresh and Fit as an example, they pandered to men, but 90% of the guests will be women.
Because I've noticed it's a business model, right? It works.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that a lot of like I know Kevin Samuel is like a god to these red pill dudes. A lot of the men that religiously follow Fresh and Fit, Cristobal. A lot of the men that religiously follow King Riches and Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate, these are not men that do well with women. They are not. I know. They are not. These are men who harbor some type of resentment towards women. So when they see someone like Kevin Samuel who's talking rough, or Fresh and Fit who's screaming at women, it's like they're living vicariously through them.
Yeah.
Right? So they follow and it's getting views. But what they don't realize, Crystal, did you actually know that a lot of these King Riches, Fresh and Fit, it's actually a business model? The girls are plants. Did you know that? Most people don't. Most people don't know that, though. Did you know that, bro?
I'm tapped in. Yeah.
Most of the women that go on Fresh and Fit, or even King Riches, they pay those girls, bro. Even on whatever podcast, she was the one that exposed it. Actually, they bring. So what Fresh and Fit typically does is this. If you notice, they always bring the same type of girls. They don't bring people like Eno. They don't bring people like the female version of you or female version of me there. They don't. Who did they bring? Instagram models, OnlyFans models. They give them a little bit of alcohol and they tell them play dumb, be stupid.
Bro,
your job here is to give ridiculous expectations so that the man.
Yeah, so it's even cut you. Like specifically on what you're saying. Even me, I'd be watching a couple clips here and there, right? And my thing is that after a while, if you're someone that's trying to have a conversation in good faith, won't you get bored to speaking to someone who doesn't have the intellectual capacity to go back and forth with you? Right? Like you've got to take it as, no. Like you want to speak to women that don't represent women as well as they could. Like you want to speak to people you could talk down to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think like for me, that's where it's just like, yo, like as a consumer, if you're someone that's not rooted in, like you was just speaking to before, like in a miserable place, right? Why would that appeal to you? Again, at best, I could give to you like the shock factor, initial period. You're like, wait, what the hell is this? That. But after I really understand what it is, like, what else is that supposed to bring you? Yeah. You know? And for me, one thing I've noticed is, and this is where, especially when I've discussed it on TikTok lives prior, where I get a little bit more pushback, right? Is the concept that anti-men panderers that happen to be women are basically radicalizing young women. Because I feel like you're seeing it in real time. And it's not seen as the same because I guess depending on where you land here in terms of your position on, I guess, patriarchy, the extent in which patriarchy exists, you know, men and the thoughts that they have when it comes to serving women, it will never look the same, right? Because basically a very, very, very bad man to a woman, it's a different kind of threat as opposed to the reverse. Like an evil woman will hurt a man very differently to how an evil man will hurt a woman. Does that make sense?
Explain.
Go
deeper.
Right. So what I mean to say is, obviously this ties back into my point about how there's more young women I'm observing and I'm seeing you're being radicalized the same way I could see young men being radicalized by the manosphere in red pill space. However, the threat, like if you want to go to the more extreme parts of like where that can go with people, with men that like are entrenched in that, essentially incel culture, like true incel culture, right? The threat that those kind of men present to women is very different to how a radicalized woman from the internet will threaten a man. So it will never be compared the same, right? So as an example, and we've got like real life case studies on this, right? Where you have like the TV series that came on Netflix. I can't remember what it was called again. The one that won the awards because it depicted the 13-year-old that ended up I don't want to use the wrong language, but ended up ending the life of someone he went to school with, a young girl, and he was being influenced by like incel manosphere culture. I can't remember what it's called, but it was very, very popular, right?
There was a lot of them actually. Elliot Rogers, I think that was like the first one.
No, hold on, I'll put it here. Let me just.
Okay. There's a lot of them.
Let me type up and get it as we're talking. But yeah, like, so for me, that is the threat of incel culture at its extreme, like end of life, right? However, and again, this is not an exact parallel, so please excuse any holes. And to be fair, I'm more than happy to like, hear like where there's holes in this observation. But I find that where there's more young women being radicalized, it isn't necessarily a femcel will end up ending the life of your boy necessarily, or it may not be a physical threat.
You're right. Yeah, I got it. It's so essentially what you're saying, Crucible, is the way women hurt men is a bit more.
Yes.
Maybe I'm not gonna say it's like the way women hurt men is a little bit more covert.
Covert is not the word. I know exactly what you're trying to say. Yeah. It's like it's more of like character. So there's actual like literature around this, right? It's right. More like character assassination.
Yes, indirect.
Social.
Indirect.
Yeah, like more social ostracization. Like even amongst women, right? Like young girls, it's the mean girl culture. It's right. I'm not necessarily going to hurt you physically, but I'm going to damage your name. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's what you're kind of seeing more and more examples of this, right? So there's conversations around like the tea app when that came out, obviously a couple months ago. There's like essentially like tea culture. And I don't want to speak into false allegations because that's like a rabbit hole I don't want to explore, but like it's that, right? Like that's the extreme of it because that's essentially how women have been socialized to fight back, right? They can't fight back physically. Now we're going back like hundreds of years. Like now we're talking about like social development over years, like anthropological research and that. It's just a digital version of that. And I think what's happening now is because we've never really explored, okay, we know masculinity exists and we know femininity exists. If we can acknowledge that toxic masculinity exists and what that looks like, because it is a real thing, like this is what we're talking about, right? Surely, even from a theoretical perspective, there must be a thing such as toxic femininity.
Yeah.
Right? So, like just logically, right? So, but what does that look like? Because I'm sure there'll be overlaps because then men and women both have masculine and feminine traits. And so that means just naturally we share traits. There's going to be some overlap here, but there must be some components that define what. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, I really like the point that you're raising. I think for me, from a female perspective, the primary thing that I see, the primary component, I think the most wicked of them all to themselves and also to the broader society is this sense of entitlement, right? And I'll give you an example. I think I sent you this video, Kingsley, of a woman in Nigeria. I think a woman that, to be honest with you, has no, like, if she was rational, she was not delusional, she would not look at herself and think, yeah, this is the man I'm going to. They have this idea now, yeah, it's not only men that can chase women, I as a woman can do it, which I don't have a problem with if that's what you want to do. But then she shoots her shots, like they will call it, to this guy on Twitter. And even the way she did it, puts her picture and blah, blah, blah. And the guy only responded to her once, saying, with all due respect, like he didn't say I'm not single, but he basically said, with all due respect. He said no very politely. And it's her response after that. So they have this sense of entitlement. To me, I think that's a primary component of, if I want it, I must get it. Or you have to, I was reading a comment, I think the person has left now. When I meet a man that is to my standard, and what I was trying to ask the person in the comment is, are you a standard? Men are, I think, and I'm not trying to pander to men, but I think men are more able to self-assess than women are. Women are sometimes, because we're raised, society even, we're given this very princess look, perspective and way of looking at things. Anything we see, we think we deserve it. And even if that thing doesn't want us, since we're talking about interpersonal relationships, then it becomes offensive. Then there's something wrong with the person for not wanting us. As opposed to a man, I think most reasonable men that have a brain, you're not going, if you meet a woman, you have to assess yourself. Like, am I the kind of, I think all men would ask themselves is try and judge themselves, look at where they are in their lives and think, like, don't shoot more than you can attain. But us women, I think this is part of a very toxic trait that I see in this perspective, where we don't know how to assess ourselves, and we think just because we want somebody else, they must accept our advances, because now we're in the age of feminism. And I'll give you my final example. I once went to an event in Lagos. And in Lagos, when you go to this kind of weddings, it's basically a social class thing, and it's also where people go networking, especially to meet other people that they want to date and all of that. So it's always like a big deal. And we're in this setting, and it's like Lagos is filled with gorgeous people, both men and women, gorgeous people. And this lady, in my personal opinion as a woman, if I were her, that's not the man I'll hit on, unless he hit on me. People are dancing, and she was like, and then eventually she's really trying to insert herself to dance personally with him, and he kept avoiding her. That should have been enough. If a man did that, it would be harassment, but she kept going. Eventually he was like, listen, I'm not interested. And then she turned around and she said, oh, he's intimidated by me. I wanted to laugh, but I didn't know her well enough. So I think that's one of...
But people don't explore how women also don't know how to take rejection. They don't like rejection. I mean, nobody likes rejection, but I feel like as men, we are expected anyway to go and make the moves. But I feel like a lot of women, like to your point, Cristobal, about how women and men operate differently. Women are more covert, men are more overt. Men, yes, we go crazy sometimes when we get rejected, screaming, and which is bad. But I've also noticed that when women get rejected, what they do is they start throwing things like, they start making TikTok videos. I have a theory that majority of these women, no, I genuinely believe that. I think that most of the women you see making TikTok videos about dating, how dating is shitty, and how men have become sassy, men used to go to war. The underlying thing is that those women just got rejected. But the thing is, they just got rejected from the men they want. They don't care if it's the men they don't want. And I want to hear your point as a man on this panel. A lot of this is just my own observation. I mean, I could be talking shit, but this is just something that I've noticed. Anytime women get, most of these, I would say even 90% of these videos, you see women walking on the street talking about, girls, I don't know what, men, I'm sick of men these days. They men used to go to war. I don't know, men are weak. Men, she just got rejected. The guy she wanted just don't want her back. It is as simple as that. And that's just what I've noticed. So unlike us men who lash out, women take a more subtle operation. And I always say, maybe the guy just don't want you, which is okay. You don't want every guy that comes to you. I'm sure the ladies on this panel, some men that find you attractive, you don't find them attractive, which is okay. What do you think quickly, Cristobal, before we go to Jinaku? And
what you and Anno have said, just like, it's just very interesting to me, because what I find when I'm on panels, when I'm just speaking to people in general, and we're discussing like these kind of topics, like things around interpersonal relationships and love and marriage and dating, right? Or it's 80% of it, or the majority of the conversation, is because people don't have access to the things that they're talking about, right? So case in point, why are people talking about high value man and high value women so much when we know what the medium, at least in the West, right? I can speak to the UK, to the US, France, but just in general, I'm sure it's the same in most places in the world. Most people are average earners, yet the conversation, generally speaking, is about high value men and high value women, right? Gold diggers this, and it's just like, most of you people do not even have access to the things you're speaking about, right? So when I'm hearing, people that can't deal with rejection, even like, I'll flip it, speaking about men that are only talking about women that they have access to and stuff. Like, it's a skills issue. Most of you do not have the requisite skill to get what you want. If you ask most people that are in these panels and are anti-men or anti-women, ask them, very simple question, are you your type's type? Simple question. Are you your type's type? Show me how you get down in real life. Even if you're single, even if you've had negative experiences, generally speaking, do you have access to the kind of people that you want? If not, I don't want to hear too much on what men are doing or what women are doing, right? Like even if you speak on entitled women, I'm like, okay, that sense of entitlement must have come from somewhere, right? However, why are we spending so much of our time talking about the kind of people that we do not want? Me personally speaking, if I have access to the kind of women that I want, and to be fair, like I'm 30 years old, I've lived a good life. I'm not bad looking. Like I've had access for a long period of my life so far, adult life anyway. I've had access to the kind of women I want. So generally speaking,
Congolese, so I'm not surprised.
I mean, hey, it could work against you though.
So Jinako, I think Jinako has a clarification for Eno. After Jinako, I brought Jacinda up because I just love having her around. Go ahead, Jinako, and then if Jacinda has something.
Yeah, I have a question for Ms. Beth.
Right, interpretations.
What was the overall? Because she claimed that is something that is toxic, and what you haven't spoken to me, but what did you get from that statement when I made that statement?
My dearest sister, please don't be upset. That wasn't actually what I said. I didn't say it was toxic at all. I just said that your standard, if you remember, I was replying in your comments also because you said you are not going to be with any man until you meet your standard. I didn't really know what you meant by that, but I guess you meant standard. What I was trying to say is that what you... Someone's... I'm hearing... Okay, now it's gone. I was basically trying to say that everybody's standard exists. It's somewhere. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to find bad standards. They're going to come your way, but it takes... We've all had those bad experiences, and we've all said, unless something that I want shows up, but it doesn't... Maybe I didn't understand what you said correctly, but it doesn't negate the fact that they're bad people, but what you want exists, is there. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
What I want is what I deserve. And what I deserve is what I have worked to become. So when I use these phrases, I'm not talking, I am an architect. I work in corporate America. I have access to men of all. They don't have good personalities. So when I speak about standards, I'm talking about education level. I'm talking about emotional level. Someone who's willing to grow and consistently see themselves as part of the universe, as something that is forever changing, forever evolving, and somebody who respects boundaries. So when I speak of standards, I'm not talking on the level of these red pill, pink pill. One thing is, this is why I can't stand feminism. I am not a feminist because it's the boxing of people that makes things so restrictive that you cannot breathe, that you can actually live in freedom, but at the same time, with rules and regulations, we're able to really understand each other. I'm looking for somebody who's well-read, somebody who understands the environment in which we exist in, that if we decide to raise our children, we're raising our children in a proper way, that we have to both agree on a certain type of parenting style. I'm looking for somebody who understands that intellectual capability and possibility is the main thing we need to absolutely embed in our children. Respect, kindness, but also don't take crap from other people. And also look at the world as the world is today in the racial dynamic. That's what all white people all know. So I want my children to understand that blackness is beautiful and they need to love it. When I speak about standard, you have to ask me what type of standard. Not assume me, because for me, I could tell you, I don't just see anybody and attractive to them. I don't see that. I'm a sapiosexual. I think people know what sapiosexual is, right? People who are much more attracted to intelligent. And this is why I can see a good looking guy. And the moment he start talking, I'm like, oh my God, like in my head, I'm like, shut up. Like literally like, oh, I just want to vomit. And I can see a very not so attractive guy, but when he starts talking, it takes something inside of me, because it's the conversation we can have, the banter we can go back and forth, the way we can absolutely understand each other. So when I say standard, you have to ask me where that standard is coming from. I am not being facetious. I'm not being overdrawn. I'm not looking for handsome. I'm not looking for money. Like, yeah, but I need you to be on the level that I am in. I'm an entrepreneur. I love business. I love to grow. I need a partner who actually who's also moving that same direction, and we meet at that same level. And this is something like, oh yeah, that's the type of partner I'm looking for. When I say standard, I have my standard. My standard is not based on social media standard. So when I was saying in the comment, you could have simply asked, what type of standard? Instead, you asked me, are you their standard? I don't need to be the person who they need to, if they're moving and they find me to be that standard and they see I'm not standard, then they choose me. If I'm not that standard, they don't choose me. I don't operate in that sense that, oh, if I want you, I don't care. If you don't think I'm your standard, well, that's your loss. Or, hey, maybe I'm not it. And I move on, right? So I know what I'm looking for. And what person I'm looking for has to have what I also carry, but also have to balance me out on my weakness, and I can balance them out on our weakness. And we're able to move. Most of the conversation I get to on social media with people and men, women should do this. Oh, you should be able to cook. You should. I don't need someone to tell me that. I don't need to, because true love is not something you tell someone to do. It's something that somebody is willing to do, right? And some people are not willing to cook. That's not how they show love. They find other ways to show love, right? You just have to respect that way. You get what I'm saying? So when I was saying my standard, you should have just simply asked me, and we'd have just had the discussion.
I apologize, my sister. To be very honest with you, I was just asking a question because I didn't understand what you were saying. But yeah, I completely agree with what you have said. I had a question, but let's continue because my question is not about what we're talking about now. So I wouldn't want to hold up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's open panel anyway, so people can hop in. I don't want to police when people get to speak. So Jacinda, Cristobal, Mrs. Eno, Jinaku. I have a couple of questions for Jinaku, but I mean,
let the ladies talk.
Okay,
I've heard myself talk too much.
Okay, no worries.
I'm kind of interested in hearing what Eno's question is now. To be fair,
Me too. Actually, I'm a nosy today. I'm nosy. I want to hear what other people. I want to hear what people are thinking. But Jacinda, you want to just let's hear what Jacinda's got quickly to say. If she's got anything to say.
At the moment, I'm just listening to everybody because I came in quite late. I just don't want to go off the topic. So let me just listen.
Okay.
Then eventually, if I have to chip in, I'll chip in. I'll let you guys know.
No worries. Cool. But I got a question for Jinaku. First of all, are you Malian? That's the Mali president, no? Asaima Goita, I think. Abi?
No, I'm not Malian, but I am from West Africa.
West Africa, cool. No.
I live in so many different countries.
No, I love what those guys are doing. So I like them. I like them a lot. But Jinaku, again, forgive me. I'm just following what you said, right? Because I would have assumed, because you said those guys don't have the personality you're looking for. I was just like Cristobal. I want to fade into the background. I want the ladies to talk on this one. But I would have assumed, like, in that space, that, I mean, you would, I don't know, maybe you explained it. I didn't listen, but what kind of personality are you looking for? Because another thing a lot of women seem to miss, especially women who are very successful, who climb the corporate ladder, which is beautiful, I salute you guys, is that if you are going to meet a guy who is also at that level as you, those guys come with a little bit of arrogance, man. Maybe Chris, as a guy, I don't know what Cristobal does for a living. He doesn't need to tell us. But I will tell you this. I come from sales. I work in B2B sales for 8 years, right? I'm currently transitioning my career into IT. There's a certain level of a bit almost like arrogance you got to have as a man overall to rise in this world, bro. So I feel like a lot of women, I'm not saying you, Jinaku, but I'm just putting all the perspectives that I've gathered over the years. A lot of women want Prince Charming wrapped up in a bow tie. He's nice, he's caring, but he's also a killer. He's 6 foot tall. I'm not saying you, but he has all the perfect traits and he's every single thing you want. But I'm just saying, if a lot of women want successful men or men that are on their way to success, you're gonna have to deal with a little bit of stubbornness, man. Because it's that stubbornness and it's that doggedness that makes the guy successful. What do you think? Let Jinaku make
I thoughts, but I just want to let the ladies talk.
I want to hear what Jinaku said, then maybe the ladies can help.
The difference between disrespect, right? Now, being a black woman, we're very rare in the architectural field. So I have experience, and when the black men who are in those fields are not really pro-black women, most of them. But let's talk about, we had a small group where we were all, closer to Dr. Rekana, we're architects and engineers. Of course, I'm very young compared to most of the men there, and I'm the only woman who's an architect on the team. But we have, I mean, all of them, almost all of them wants to dominate me and disrespect me and put me in this box. But there's one guy there, he's a very old time architect. He's from Nigeria. And he's able to, when he talks to me, this is why me and him have the strongest relationship on the team, right? He's an older man because he sees that the way they act is very off-putting. It's very disrespectful, and all of them are very off. Many of them are in the age of retirement and stuff like that. I'm very young, very, very young compared. Some of them all can be my grandparents. But the way he talks to me, when me and him talk, it's like the level of respect, right? And I'm able to really listen to him and take advice from him. Like I'm literally like when he's talking, because he understands that I'm a human being and all I deserve is respect when I'm being talked to. I'm not to be put in a box. So when I'm having these conversations, there's a difference between arrogancy and stubbornness, and and also arrogancy, which is very people call it, is disrespectful. I'm in that field where men believe that if you are a woman, if you're a black woman, you are not smart enough. You are not, even the white women do the same thing to us. But you know, obviously we have that intersectionality, whatever. But it's so horrible that you don't look at anyone and say, "Oh my God, I'm a try." No, you look at them like you don't want to just like go. You want to get in the boxing ring with them. So it's not something I'm in those spaces, but I'm attracted to. When I say sexual, it's about how can we connect on a person-to-person basis.
Okay, I got you. Fair enough. I'm glad you're in predominantly non-black spaces, but I'm glad you found that, and I'm glad the Nigerian man treats you with respect. I like that, and you should be treated with respect in your workplace, regardless of that. That should be the standard. And I hope, I know from the way you speak very confidently. So I know you stand up for yourself when you need to, right? When the people push you to the wall, right, Gina?
And I guess it's around just the word that keeps on coming up in my brain right now is respect. And what does respect look like from men towards women? And I don't just mean in the like average social dynamic. I mean really where there's like a relationship. Obviously, to what what Janaka was saying was more in a professional setting, more so. But like even in the more interpersonal setting, there are men who, because I know us, right, will say, and I believe them, they love their wives, but they will be unfaithful because they compartmentalize, you know, that part of the relationship with another part of their relationship with themselves, right? And I can't say that those men are lying or those men are delusional. The question would be, do you respect your wife? Because I don't question his love. But the follow-up question could be, do you respect your wife? And I think that would be a different answer if you were to ask men that were in that position. But I still think there are men that would say, even though I'm unfaithful to her in the sense of whether it be soft cheating, hardcore cheating, whatever the case may be, the way that they perceive love and respect for a woman is very different to how, and again, this is where the ladies, again, poking the holes in what I'm saying right now. But I think, yes, there's a general human level of courtesy and respect that we understand. But I do think when you apply the gender and the relationship element to it, the way a woman would feel love and respect and how it's received could be very different to how a man is expressing love and respect. And I think to myself, okay, in those kind of like situations, obviously we're talking about like dating and marriage and love, but is how do men end up respecting women? Like, what's the timeline? What's the pathway? And I think a lot of the behaviors and I guess a lot of the conversation around that, because obviously we're always butting heads, right, with these gender wars and these topics. And one side thinks they're better than, not better, but like, you understand what I'm saying? One side thinks they're superior than the other, But ultimately speaking, is it because we are loving and respecting each other, or the standards that we're holding each other to are very different to the people on the other side?
Going back to cheating, right? I used to think that as well, like long time ago, that men don't respect women, that's why they cheat. But now, or sometimes some women think they don't love, but when there's an African proverb that says, be careful when a naked man offers you a shirt. And there was an article I read on this specific topic about how men perceive when they cheat on their wives and they say they love their wives. And what I deducted from that article is that cheating is about the self, not the person you're cheating on. It's about you who's doing it, and it's about, do I respect myself? Because if I respect myself, I'm not going to do something that I have to hide, or it's not honorable, or it's not something that I wanted to do or want other people to know. So that's basically how I see that. I don't necessarily see it as a respect issue. I see it more as something wrong with you. It has nothing to do with the woman or how you think or what you think love is, whether you can still love but you cannot zip your pants. It's about you. You don't respect yourself to start with. You don't love yourself to start with. So how can you give that to me? That's number one. And number two, you said something else about how women see respect. I'm not speaking for all women, but personally, I think that we see respect. Like, I see respect. Let me speak for myself again. I see respect very differently from how my husband sees respect. For me, respect is, do you listen to me? Do you consider my perspective? When I say, okay, can you leave me alone? I need this, I need that.
So just like you hit me there. Like I'm learning right now, but sorry.
Yeah, like, is that honored? You know, because sometimes men think women need to listen to them, but men don't listen to women. Or men don't take things that women say seriously, especially if you're a particular type of woman that is not dramatic or problematic or will not go to war. And some women go to war with their men because men are not listening to them. For me personally, if you respect your partner, respect anyone, even a child, you will listen to them, you will consider them, and when they say they don't like something, you will try your best to adjust in action and in words. I think I'll leave it there for now.
Nah, you know what? Like saying, I can't necessarily explain how I'm going to link it to what I'm about to say, but like it resonated. And all right, as an example, you see when you got a lot of like these red pill manosphere coded people or like platforms speaking, right? Have you noticed, especially within the black community, whether it's Caribbean people speaking by African people, black Europeans, black Americans, whatever, the subject of women cooking is such a big one. Is that just me that's noticed this? Anyone can answer?
Yeah, I've seen it, I've heard it. I don't think it should be, but it is apparently, yeah.
Like, ladies, have you not been in panels or on lives or heard people speaking of, like, men speaking about, the importance of women cooking and cleaning, that, like, whole thing, right?
I'm engaged in those kind of
yeah.
I know I would clash with them because I would disagree. They would disagree. They would bring an argument. I respect their platforms and I just back out.
Right. So the thing I've personally found interesting when I'm hearing guys that are obviously bitter, resentful, and that, like, when they're talking about the importance of women cooking, or even having to ask a woman, do you cook? Let's just start there. I've always found that surprising because any woman that I've dated or have been with, I don't have to ask them to cook. They want to do it. I don't necessarily think it's because they'll do that for every man or they're just like cooking for the sake of it. It could be a variety of reasons, right? But the thing I've noticed, I don't have to ask for something that, and by the way, I'm not like this massive foodie evil. I feel like you've got to make me the best Congolese plate of food ever or some Michelin star restaurant type shit. Like, nah. But it's a thing of, but what I guess I have done is I've made women comfortable enough to want to bring, for them to want to look after me in small ways, right? So if we're at my crib and, okay, let's get something to eat. We may not order something. She may be like, let's cook something. Oh, I'll cook something. What do you want? I'm like, word. What I will do is I will go, if the food isn't already there, I will go and I'll get the food myself. And of course, I will help. It's not just me sitting on the sofa. Like, even if I'm going to do a little bit, it's that, right? And I use that example to say, and going back to what I said about it being a skills issue, right? There's a lot of people that struggle to get what they want because they don't know how to elicit the behavior from the other gender. And I think a lot of it comes down to that, right? It's the ability to what Anna was just talking about. It's knowing how to provoke behavior by knowing how to incentivize behavior. It may not necessarily be as strategic and intentional as I'm describing it, but like even the most natural people that are good with men or women, they know how to elicit a behavior, provoke a behavior, incentivize a behavior that is good. And obviously a lot of it comes from being a good person, being a good man or woman themselves. If you know how to identify good partners, and if you know how to treat good candidates well, right? More often than not, you're going to receive some good behavior in return.
I mean, I always hear people talk about this. I think that in healthy dating, people should be able to say what they want. So if you're a man and food is your thing and for you that's important, you have a right to ask. So it's not going to be up to the woman. If that's not what she wants, then you people are not meant to be together, right? Because I think relationships, including the healthy one, which is how this conversation started in the first place about, what was pandering and what's happening and the demonization of both genders. All healthy relationships are about compromise. There are going to be things that I have to learn to do to accommodate another human being in my life. But there's also the aspect of, as long as the person is a good person, there's a lot of compromises to be made. That's number one. Number two, reminds me of the question I wanted to ask, I don't know, I can't see her name fully. Our sister
it's Jinaku.
Jinaku?
Yeah, Jinaku.
It's about compromise and almost, she was describing this older man that understands her. And what I was going to say when she was talking about that, which skipped my mind, was that older man has had experience. He has gone through a lot of learning. My grandmother used to say something: if you meet a man that is near perfect gentleman, a perfect man doesn't exist, so is a woman. But if you meet a one that knows how to treat you, another woman has trained him. Same as the woman. If you meet a woman that just ticks all the boxes, somebody has trained her, and that's not yours, that's for another person, So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that even healthy love is about compromise, is about listening to each other, negotiating. And for me, it's personally very important that people are able to say what they want. So if you're a man, you like a woman that is going to make, like if I went on a date and a man asked me, do you cook? I'll say, yeah. Do you provide? There's nothing wrong with that. If you're offended, then fuck off, because it's an exchange of something. If you want a woman that caters to you and takes care of your home, what do you do in return, But I'm saying those kinds of people there's nothing wrong with that perspective. That's what you want. There's nothing wrong with women who want to stay at home and raise their kids, and for a man to there's nothing wrong with anything.
I have a question though, and I have a quick question. Do you not think there's a difference? I think there's, again, depending on how comfortable you are having these conversations face to face or one on one, I think that's fine. Like what you're saying is accurate. But do you think things change when people are having this conversation on TikTok or Twitter, on Instagram all the time about the standards that we have for women or the standards we have for men?
Those people are not realistic. They are not living in the real world. They are delusional. It's not.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, they are not real because first of all, like you have to give another human being. Like I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she's telling me about this guy that she's dating, and she started finding faults in him. At a point, I had to say to her, you told me in the beginning he's great, he did this and that. You have to start giving men and women the same level of grace that you give to yourself when you do something wrong or something maybe not that great, because you're still learning, you're growing. The most important thing is you find somebody that you can have hard conversations with, that you can say, this is what I want. If that's what you want, there are men that just don't know how to do shit. Like I'll use myself as an example. If my husband wants to clean, I'm like, please get out of the way. Like, I don't like the way you clean. It's not clean enough for me. He didn't ask me to do it. We have a cleaner, but I have very terrible OCDs. Now, some women will see something wrong with that, or they will say I'm pandering, or I'm a pick-me, but I know I'm not, so I don't really care. But there's a lot of things that he does for me that not many men, some men thought, like relationship, I think yesterday we had a conversation on the live, and I was saying, like, relationships are not 50-50. It's not we bring equally. No, sometimes I give more, sometimes he gives. That's how it works. And all these things on social media is bullshit.
Yeah, as long as you get to 100, that's what that matters.
You don't even need to get to 100. Nobody gets to 100. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was doing my PhD thesis, I think I was a very horrible wife. I was a very horrible friend. Like, nobody could reach me. I was always overwhelmed. Initially, when I just started this phase of, trying to finalize my PhD, my husband was really I could see he was uncomfortable because sometimes he enters my office in my house and he wants to talk to me. I'm like, don't talk to me. Like if you start speaking, and I used to get upset. Like, this is something, like once I start having a 5-minute conversation with you, I have lost 3 hours for the day because I have to go back and start thinking, what was I thinking? How was I trying to frame this and all of that? I was a very horror. So I was giving nothing. Some days I was not even able to leave the house. I was not able to, my things were all over the place. He had to do it. So at that point, you cannot expect me to give you 100 or 20. You cannot even measure my actions because that's not loving. Loving means when we're having those crazy moments. And as a man, you can only accommodate a woman when she's pregnant if you're able to do that. If a woman who started off cooking for you, doing the do with you every week suddenly cannot do it, that's what love is. I'll leave it here for now.
Yeah. I think we all have different definitions of love and what love is and how we sort of view love. And I think it depends on the individual person, depending on how they grew up, their micro environment, and then the summer macro environment they existed in. So your home versus your community life is how you overall view the whole world and how you sort of interact with the world. So I don't really judge people like on, for me, I despise the gender war thing. People will say I hate men just because whenever you hear me in conversation, I never tell people all men are. I tell people I find this fascination with one group trying to put another group in a box. It's so fascinating to me where this is what you should do. This is what you should do if you're in this. I think some of the most beautiful relationship, which is very few in my life that I know, are the relationship where both partner understand, because before you marry somebody, you have to know this person and you have to know is this what you want in your life? If this is what you want in your life, you have, of course you will still learn new things about this person, but you have the tool to be able to kind of like withstand or actually tolerate, the new personality, or to be able to formulate and mold to this new personality within your partner that you're learning on both sides. Let's talk about this individual person that I told you about, the guy. And let's talk about how he interacted with me versus how he interacted. Yeah, there are women who are very disrespectful. There are women who are very rude, who really take themselves higher than most men in the environment. She clashes with him, even though he's always trying to get her to, understand the situation. He's very reasonable. But just because it doesn't go her way, she loses it. And he calls me. He's like, and I'm like, yeah, she's a bit crazy. I say straight up to him, not because me and him, he's older than me. All the other men I'm talking about, they're much older than him, by the way. But not because he's really my work colleague, and I respect him for that. That's all it is. But first is how he actually interact with the other lady. Two different. Okay, he doesn't like too much confrontation like that. He's the kind of person who he feels so like sort of squishy. His personality, like you could just bounce in his personality. For me, when he starts talking to me, I immediately understand. I could be better. I could do this, and when I get in confrontation with my other colleagues. But for her, he has to take her side. If he even say a single thing about her that she doesn't like, and I remember saying it to him, she's a brilliant woman, she is. But I said she doesn't have when it comes to, she acts like a kid. And this woman is much older than me. She acts like an immature kid. And I remember one time we were in a meeting and she kept going off and off and off. And I was like, oh my God. Like at one point I was just like, just let her talk. Don't say anything. And some of the men was trying to, and I was like, but that's the thing. Just let her, once she's done, you guys don't have to deal with her again. And then she calls him, oh, you didn't stand up for me. You didn't. And I was like, don't even take it personal because I was there. I think she overdo things, right? Yes, these men are very disrespectful and I call them out, but you don't see me going overboard. He said, that's why I like you, because you know how to put them in that place and you put them in the right time. And when she done that, you for her, she overzealous, but she started disrespecting him because he didn't take her side. And I said to him, I was like, let me say this to you. I knew that woman was very rational the moment she started talking. And not because, yes, those men are very disrespectful. They do some really awful thing. But just the way she would go on and on and on and on and on. It was just really, and you could see that interaction. So it depends on, when you say I talk about my standard, I look for the person who can calm me and the person who I can calm. When I talk about standard, it's based on personality. It's based on intellectual capability. I don't care about money.
Money and looks to some extent.
No.
I think you're
no. Somebody asked me this. I'm going to be honest with you. No, I don't. Somebody asked me this question. No, I would not date somebody who's into.
We all have our physical thresholds. We all do.
I promise you, someone actually, my friend told me I'm very different from most women. That I don't want to date a rich man. You do know why I don't want to date a rich man? I'm somebody who I grew up learning how to earn for myself. There is something empowering. It feels like I have no orgasm whenever I do something and I accomplish for myself. What other people do it for me, it felt off. So I want a man that will be intellectually on my level. And when somebody's intellectual on your level, that means they have the same sort of thinking, you can build together. I need a partner who we can build together. Of course, I don't want you coming and you don't have you're 42 years old, 36 years old, 30 years old, and you barely have even graduated high school. That's not what I'm looking for. I know I don't need you to come with money, but I need you to come with credentials or come with experience and potential to a degree, but where I say you actually try your own self and you have failed. Because failure doesn't mean that you are a total loser. It just means that you have to pick yourself up and learn from that mistake. I actually like to fail. People don't, I love to fail when I fail. Of course, it's terrifying, but whenever I feel, I sit back and I'm like, okay, what can I do better? What did I learn from my mistake that made me feel that time? So I don't come from that world. I come from, this is why I say micro. For you to understand your partner, you have to understand how they grew up. The way people grew up, there are some people who grew up in my situation and they're quite the opposite from me because of those trauma and those experiences, those lack of not having, create that I need to have a rich person have to. No, I'm glad I came from a space where we were taught to earn, go hunt for yourself, do for yourself. Like, don't depend on another person. This is you. Like, fight for yourself. And so I get thrill. So I get bored very easily. If I marry a rich man, I would get bored very easily. I need my life to have interesting things in it. I need my life to always keep growing. So when I say I look for my standard, I am looking for somebody who's emotionally level. I'm looking for somebody who's intellectually inclined. I'm looking for somebody who understands what parenting looks like. I'm looking for somebody who's looking to build generational wealth to absolutely help for me because I'm really situated in the development of Africa, the growth, the future of Africa. Somebody who's also think in that space as well. And so when I talk about standard, I'm not talking about these fake, Western, red pill, pink pill. I don't look for that nonsense. I think it's so weird and it creeps me out.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, fair enough. Okay, go ahead, Crystal. I was just asking because personally, I think we all have our own thresholds. I don't consider myself superficial, but I do even have a baseline. But that's why. But hey, fair enough. I respect that, Jinaku. Christopher, you wanted to go ahead?
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, like, I think a part of, because obviously this is a microcosm, I think, of a wider societal issue. And I think for me, that issue really lies in with all right, there's this television show called Californication. David Duchovny, he was one half of the two leads of the X-Files back in the day, right? One of my favorite shows ever, particularly season 1. And there's a scene where he basically speaks about, his character speaks about just, bearing in mind, this was made in 2008, about just the advancements of the communication tools that we've developed over last few couple centuries, just social media, blogging, content creation, live panels, Clubhouse, TikTok Live, etc., right? Yet it feels like in person, it feels like people's communications, like interpersonal skills, are declining at a rapid rate, right? Like, I think that's what I'm seeing in real time. To bring it back to, I guess, the relationships between men and women, dating and love and relationships, it's what are the implications on that? We're starting to see some of them in real time. Whether it's rage bait or whether it's just genuine testimony, women will regularly come up. Listen, we had Will Smith's daughter go on social media to talk about the lack of men that approach women. This is a beautiful young woman, right? Highly intelligent, talented, connected. You can only imagine what a social network is like, right? The kinds of people that she's friends with or acquainted with that she knows. And you're telling me you're finding struggle, or even if it's not your experience, maybe she's talking about homegirls, of men approaching women. So I could only imagine what that looks like for women at the ground level. the average woman,
Terrible.
right? And when you're talking about even to the guys that are able to get access to women and speak to women, now there's a conversation happening. What are the implications beyond that? When, let's say you've been dating for a year or so, or 6 months, right? What are your communication skills like in conflict, not just in courtship? You know, like as one example. And even just the impact of like Instagram and social media. Let's say me and a woman are together. My behavior on social media, which is for me, like in this day and age, makes sense. I'm not even disputing, but like can dictate how my relationship goes. Or if my girl wants to just see what I'm up to, she doesn't even have to speak to me, right? Well, back in the day when our parents, you know, were together and doing their thing, when they went to work, unless it was an emergency, they did not speak to each other until they got back home. That has implications in the dynamic and how we interact. And this is for couples that are together in a healthy relationship, right? Because my thing is okay, cool. It's a good relationship, right? I can go on her Instagram profile when I'm feeling a little bit, let me just see what she's looking like. Or like sending each other memes. So it's a thing of, do you communicate the same way? Not necessarily the same way, but like, what does the communication look like now when you're at home together? You know, so like, I guess that's again, I'm doing a bit of rambling, but line of thought. I definitely think that the way we speak to one another, even when it comes to just friendship, like this will help determine how we will communicate with our romantic partners. So yeah, food for thought.
Yeah, I think to go back to what your first question about Will Smith's daughter saying men don't approach women. I think we've had that conversation like a long time ago on Kingsley's Life. About my own personal perspective on that is just really the domestication of men, all genders, like trying to domesticate men to be neutral or to be what we want them to be as a society, so that women will be comfortable, because men have been oppressing women for ages. I could go on and on. And I think that is dangerous, because what is happening is the sissification of men. Men have become, for the lack of a better word, pussies, because we've subdued them. Now we have this idea that they've ruled us and they've oppressed us for years, and now we have to bring them down to their level. And I'll give you a real life example. I was watching a TikTok video about kindergartens in, I think, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, where they are literally kindergarten children. Boys are raised as girls and girls are raised as boys. And I showed my husband, I was like, this is wrong on all levels. The very fact that you're trying to fight the cause of nature. Boys play rough, but no. So it's kindergarten. So we're talking about people who are under 5 years old. And we're saying, yeah, let's force girls to play rough because boys used to do it, and that's what makes them violent. So now let's socialize them to do the thing that we think girls do, instead of allowing children to be children. And I think that, in my own personal perspective, that has really shifted the social dynamic of human behavior, gender behavior, and it's seen in interpersonal relationship. It's a fact. Men don't approach women anymore. It's very difficult for women. And it's also very difficult for many women to meet the kind of men that they can date. That's just because men are being subdued by society, and they're pushing them down so that women can feel, and it's defeating the purpose, because now you have women who are not approached by men who would want to be with men, but men are now becoming women. Men are like sissies. Men want women to chase them, because we're trying to, I don't know if I'm rambling at this point, but I just think that's something that is really wrong. And on your
keep going.
On your talking about communication, I think social media has a huge role to play in that. We've developed these parasocial relationships on social media, and think because we open our Instagram and we see people that we are necessarily friends with them. Meanwhile, if you check, even happy birthday, you didn't wish them that year. They didn't wish you, because we are keeping up with each other's lives and we don't need to talk anymore. As before, we would, send messages, send emails, send WhatsApp messages, send BlackBerry messages, have actual conversations. Now, following people on social media has become a kind of communication that is killing all forms of communication. And even in friendships, like I started unfollowing people that I was not speaking, like blocking people, because I was like, we haven't so we're not friends. So if we haven't spoken this year, I've removed you on my Instagram, because you're just following my life, and that's giving you access to my life. And for both of us to deceive ourselves that we're friends, but we're actually not friends, because friends make efforts. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, and I'll say this. What you make a great point. It's actually tied to what I was saying. Is I think men approach women now in different ways, which is inclusive of what you just said, Cristobal, of social media as well, right? I think the days of men just walking up to women, it still happens, but of course we are moving on with the times, right? Most men now are gonna use whatever works for them in a unique way, because you got to be careful too, because women, because I feel like a lot of women like to say men don't approach, but women, they may not realize they're not saying this, but I've noticed that when women say men are not approaching women anymore, they are talking about the men they want to approach them. They don't want, if the men that they are not attracted to approaches them, then it's a problem. And I think a lot of men are very cautious of that too. You don't know if you're her type, because even if she doesn't put you on blast, she may be scared of you. She may be angry at you. She may not like you. But I also think there's an aspect of women, especially the women that come online and put it on TikTok. They don't necessarily want you to approach them. I feel like women want at a larger scale to approach them, especially the younger girls. I'm not talking about the women, like the more mature women. I'm talking about the girls, like the young women who put it online. I feel like it's an ego thing. They want the ability to say no. I don't know if you understand me, Cristobal, as a guy. That's one thing I've noticed. A lot of women, a lot of younger women, they want the validation to say, oh, that guy approached me and I said no. I don't think they really want men, the average man, to approach them. They want the men that they are attracted to.
So,
go on.
Yeah, sorry to cut you. And I'll be quick with this one. And I'm particularly interested in hearing what women think about what I'm about to say. One of my messages to guys I speak to, whether it be interpersonal or on platforms like this, right, is I like them to really, really think about the fact of as much as we hear things like about the 4B movement in Korea that's been popularized by social media, or South Korea specifically. South Korea? Yeah, it's Korean. I'm pretty sure it's a Korean movement.
South Korea.
Yeah. And shout out to Stephen in the comments, because that sparked that thought specifically. But also just like the concept, and to be fair, it's a concept I agree with, but just not in the way that a lot of women express it, of decentering men. Right? Like that is a part of, I think, of the social and cultural zeitgeist right now. And it makes sense. Tying it back to what I said about, I guess, the extent in which you're tied in with the concept of patriarchy and how it's generally spoken about, right? But I think it's also clear as a man that's really interacting with the world, and women specifically, that attention is currency.
It is.
A man,
yes.
And I think even to the point of, even if taking it, we can talk about it in like the social setting of like courtship and dating. But even if you're talking about things like OnlyFans, right? And the consumption of adult content, right? And listen, you have adult content creators transitioning to the gaming ecosystem and Twitch and Discord. Why? Because that's where you get young audiences. What do you have with young male audiences? What we know is there's a decline in participation in casual dating and in sex. That's something that we know is happening. We also know that men, I don't know if it's 18 to 25, but like Gen Z men basically tend to get sexually active later than women of the same age, right? I think there's varying reasons for that. I don't think there's a linear thing, but I say that to say that young men's attention is currency, to the point where, listen, you have women like Bonnie Blue who will go on major platforms in the UK and specifically speak to, obviously she's a shameless woman, but she speaks to the fact of like, yo, like the moment they turn 18, I'm there. As in, like, she'll do like I think she got arrested somewhere in another country like recently. Like, she'll do tours of university campuses because she's young, impressionable men, right? So the message I always say to young men is like, listen, don't just be liking. Even to my own boys, I'm 38. I remember saying this to my guys no more than like 10 years ago, if that. Listen, man, them verbatim, man, them. Don't just be liking pictures of the random baddies on Instagram. One, it's not good for your brain chemistry and the way you're going to interact with your algorithm. But two, it's like, yo, learn how to condition your eyes, right? Because, listen, we can talk about validation. However, even just at the fundamental level, right? Your attention, your ability to focus, whether it be on your craft, your career, your health, your fitness, or the woman or women in your life matters, right? And I think that is a big problem with this. It's always been the case. But our granddads, right, didn't have my granddad has had what 10 children or over 5 children, right? Like my mom is the youngest of like 7, right? 7 to 8 different women as well. Not all women, but like more than one woman. Listen, I would like to know what you would have done if you had Instagram.
Double
You understand what I'm saying?
Double it and give it to the next.
You understand what I'm saying?
I wanted to say something to the what our sister was saying about the situation in Sweden.
Before you continue, Jinako, I'm going to just tie up what Christobal is saying. Did you see the data that the average teenage boy in this era has seen more naked women than men, than kings of the past? Like, it's not natural, like to your point, Christopher, it's not natural for people, men especially, to be exposed to so many people. That is why, Gina, I'm not forgetting you, my dear, but I think it's important we put this out there. I think for men and women, it's not normal for us to be exposed to so many options. It actually fries your brain.
Yes.
Your brain. That is why you see it's like this it's called the paradox of choice or something like that. Yeah, you think you have so many options, but you truly don't. And this affects, I would say it affects women more, because you have women who because they are a woman and they get a lot of attention, they think
there's more men in the DMs than women in our DMs.
Exactly. And they use that, I'm desired. And they are desired, but they don't understand that, you're a woman. You're supposed to, in fact, if you're a woman and you're not getting attention from a biological standpoint, that's a problem. Something is wrong with you in general, right? Just, looking at one, just from all things being equal perspective, because you're a woman. So it's not, when I see women talking about, I can get any man I want, you're supposed to. You're a woman. But don't get it twisted to confuse the guys in your DMs to guys that actually want you. But I want the ladies to speak. I think Gina has a comment to make, and then I think Esse can speak, and then we can just move into open panel. And then we just the floor. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so what Becca was saying, what they're doing in Sweden. One thing I find fascinating is, yes, there are some things biologically women are not capable of, and some things men are not capable of. I understand that. Those things are biological. So let's say when we look at competition in the Olympics, even when they're doing the same competition, they have weight classes, let's say lifting, boxing, and things like that. So strength-wise, there are things that women are not capable of. And there are things biologically where men are not capable of giving birth. Women are capable of that. But I think after that, when we start to box gender, and I think that's what Sweden is doing as well, even though it's trying to quote unquote, they are boxing, right? So they're pushing onto young boys what they believe women or female are supposed to do. I'm the kind of mother who believes when I have children, boy or girl, I'm going to teach you how to be a great parent from a very young age. If my daughters will have cars, they will have dolls. My sons will have cars, they will have dolls. And the reason that is because you actually elevate the child's ability to be able to connect to something beyond themselves. I know when I was a kid growing up in Ghana, we used to have mama and papa, we would have dolls, or you, the husband, can you take care of the baby? I'm going to the market, right? And then the boys would just take the doll and start smashing the doll. But if somebody was there to say, no, that's your child, so you have to be kind to the child, you have to be nice to the child, your wife is going to the market, so you have to take care of the child, that boy probably would have taken it in a little more different. Right? It's not a reverse gender role. It's teaching children how to connect with something outside of themselves. even as girls and boys. And yeah, my daughters will have cars if they want cars. And why? Because don't women drive cars? Women drive cars, men drive cars. If my boys want cars, they're going to have cars. If my girls want to be scientists and they're young and they want to actually have science lab in my house, I will build them a science lab. If my boys want to have science, I would build them. What happened is we have sort of created this idea of gender structure. We beyond the biological existence. Yeah, there are things we know biologically do not produce sperm. Only men can produce sperm. Men can never be women. Women can never be men. We know that. But there's certain things that are in the physical realm where I always tell my and that's what my brother does. He makes sure that his only daughter he has, she's well rounded. He put us in he put her in things. He put her with boys soccer. He put her because he's trying to create this strong person inside of her. Yes, her organ already told her that she's going to have babies. That's something that is solidified. She cannot change it. However, the way she actually moves in this world, how she see herself, her confidence. If somebody's to attack her when she's walking at night, is she able to defend herself? That's something we have to give our daughters to. Yes, we give it to our son, and then we believe our daughter don't have the right to defend them. So they don't have the right to be in karate school. They don't have the right to go, to how you call it, mining school. They don't have the right to go and learn. Like these things are so. They're also patriarchal. That is so fascinating. That even what they're doing over there themselves, they're also perpetuating patriarchy because they're now saying this is what women should do, so we're giving it to boys. It's still patriarchy. If you have a gender neutral space when it comes to interacting in the physical space, you give children to decide where they want to be, and you're going to find, yes, there's to a degree, girls are much more attracted to certain things and boys you'll find it, but still you're still able to actually try to find a middle ground. The reason why we don't understand each other as we get older as women and men is because no one teaches us those middle ground. No one tried to bring us and say, okay, this is a boy, this is a girl. But do you believe that the other day my niece was saying something and her brother was like, you can't do that, you're a girl. And I said, who told you that? Oh, because she's a girl. I said, I don't need you to stop boxing her already. Her dad was sitting right there. I said, it's a thing that is physical. I think he was talking about driving buses or something. And I said, she's a woman. She can drive bus if she wants. She's a woman. She can be a mechanical engineer if she wants. She's a woman. She can do anything she wants as long it is something that is physical. If she wants to live up a car and she trained for years, she might be able to do it. Why are you boxing her because she's a woman? And then he said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, you don't need to be sorry. He's, 10 years old. You need to understand that just because she's a girl doesn't mean that she's not capable of things that you believe you're more capable of, right? And so the dad was like, thank you so much. I always tell them this, because if we don't teach children that not in this world is this idea, women do this, men do this. If we don't stop doing that, this is why we actually don't understand each other. We don't. That's why you see a lot of marriages are so faulty, because we were never taught at a young age to actually bridge that gap between us. We believe men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and so this is how we exist. But that's all I have to say.
Let's give Essay a chance to make her first point.
Hello, everyone. I just want to quickly say something about the men not approaching women. I don't know what age group of men this is about. I just feel that women are more aware of the lines that men speak. So if there is a difficulty now, I think that might be one of it, because whatever you're going to tell her is something she probably knows you're going to say, because again, social media has done a lot to share information everywhere. So everybody, practically understands that if he's saying this, I know this is what he means, or this is where he's heading to. And, unlike years back, a lot of women are more enlightened, educated, outspoken. So it takes a lot to be able to hold a conversation with a woman, not just hello, hi, your eyes are beautiful, you look good. Those are not communicating. And it will be difficult to hold a woman down with such words. I just think that might be the challenge, if really there's something like men not approaching women. That's just what I want to say for now.
Okay, no, I hear you. I hear it. Oh, Cristobal, do you have any comments overall?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the kind of like a not countful, but just a follow-up to what SA just said. Yeah, I think it's just tied into, I guess, literacy. But literacy, I guess, exists on multiple planes. So you've got obviously the traditional sense, reading and writing, and the expression. And obviously we were talking about like social media, so you've got like digital literacy, media literacy. But I guess, yeah, like whether you want to call it interpersonal skills or emotional and social IQ, which I think a lot of it should be rooted in, right? Even just when, you know, let's say you're approaching a woman, right? Even the concept of making eye contact and knowing like that right balance between enough of a physical, intimate space in between you two, where it's like, okay, cool, like I'm expressing attraction and ideally reciprocating, she's reciprocating that attraction, but also knowing when to like not give too much space, or not giving enough space, right? Like the balance there. I think it also exists even when it comes to like literally the last girl I spoke to, right? We've spoken on and off via like TikTok for a while, but like literally today, right? Like because now we're speaking a little bit more, speaking on Instagram. I asked for a number, and initially there's not resistance, but the initial response was, and it made sense, was you're gonna have to work for my number a little bit more. But also she just doesn't want to give it out because she's done it in the past in similar settings, and she's been inundated with like calls from private numbers and that, right? So having her explain that, I was always going to respect that boundary, but her explaining it also, she's like, hey, that's good for me, understand. 15 minutes later, I had a phone number, right? So I say that to say there's a lot of skills that are not being cultivated and developed enough with men and women, but specifically to men, because obviously men are expected to, not just expected, socialized, conditioned, you know, whether it be biologically or socially, to make the pursuit, to start the pursuit. Having said that, it's a skills issue, right? And I think it's also, maybe I'm diverting too much before I'll give it to someone else, but men are conditioned to pursue, but they're not conditioned to be attractive or to be pursued. They're not socialized to be pursued. Whilst women are socialized and conditioned to be pursued, but they're not conditioned and socialized to pursue either. So, yeah.
I hear that.
I don't know about you. I pursue men. And I have my own way of doing it.
I think to Gina's point.
Wait. So Gina, quick question. Gina, you see your way of being, like, because when you say that, I 100% believe you. Do you think that?
No, you know.
But having said that,
okay.
But you know what, Kingsley, you know what I'm gonna ask? Do you think that behavior is the average woman's behavior?
So to your point, Cristobal, women pursue men though. It's not new. A woman likes a guy as well. She's gonna pursue him too in her own way. I don't believe this idea that, oh, the man has to chase after a woman. If a man has to chase after a woman, she don't like you. I guarantee you that. Look, in my own experience, so when a woman has very high, that's why I align with Gina, what Gina is saying. From my own experience, my own lived experience, and from what I've seen, 100 guys could be after one woman. But when she finds that one guy that she is also drawn to, she's gonna, the way she will treat him is not gonna be the same way she's gonna treat the other 99. She might be a bit more friendly towards him. She might even give him a bit more emotions when she's responding to him. She might make herself a little bit more available towards him. That is why for me, I always say this to guys, listen, shoot your shot, fine, but give the woman a chance to also come to you. Period. That's the way, and I think that's the best dating advice I can ever give to any man. You see a girl you find attractive, no problem. Make the first.
What you're saying, yeah. I 100% agree with you. In principle.
Yeah.
In principle. Mm-hmm. However, what we're seeing in 3D and in 4K is that's not the average experience of the average man.
Because the average man, Cristobal, because the average man does not know how to find his niche. Takes us to.
It doesn't have to be attractive. No. Doesn't have to be attractive. That's the problem.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to be attractive, but the average man also doesn't know how to find his niche. You see, this is actually a very good point. It's a segue, but I don't mind it because it's important. I talk about this on my other YouTube channel. I teach men how to find their niche. You see, the biggest problem a lot of men struggle with when it comes to dating is that a lot of men don't know their niche. What do I mean by that? What does that mean? Every man, there's an archetype of women that will find a certain group of men attractive. There's a certain woman for every type of man. But the issue that I found is that a lot of men are chasing after different types of women at the same time. Me, my own strategy is this. I'm 30 years old, right? So as a result, I have been able to figure out what works for me and what doesn't work. I know what I like. I know who I am. I know my style. End of story. What do I do now? If I see a woman that I find attractive, I will shoot my shot. And I'm going to pull back and I'll see if she's reciprocating. Is she texting me back? Is she also reaching out to me? Is she also asking me questions? What is the vibe like? There's a lot of vibe, but I'm an average guy, but the most average men, I feel like they are chasing, they are going after women from an ego standpoint. They are not watching. They are thinking with their small head. They are thinking with their ego too much. So when a woman that is not attracted to them is not reciprocating, they think instead of them to pull back and focus on the woman that is focusing on them, they double down. They're chasing after her. That is why you see a lot of these men that are complaining online. She's a gold digger. She's not a gold digger. She just wanted to use you for your money because you were offering the money. Most men that are calling women gold diggers, they are the ones that started leading with their money. And even if the woman said, oh, you got to take me to this place and it's all about money, why did you do it as a man? You did it because you were going after your ego. The woman that likes you, do you think all these women that are talking about, I don't do coffee dates, do you think for the men that they are truly attracted to physically and sexually attracted to, you think they wouldn't do water dates with those men? Do you truly think so? And I say this to men all the time. I'm like, women only have all these rigid standards for the men they're not attracted to. In my own experience, I have been with women who they found me attractive, and I'm like, yo, I'm going for a walk. You want to join me? Absolutely. They drove to the park, and we took the walk together, and that was fine with them because they were attracted to me. That's how attraction works. It's not complicated, bro. If she's into you, because women are also human beings. They also have hormones. They also have their own thing. I don't know why we like to infantilize women. Women are just like us men. They just have different genitals and different wiring. But other than that, they're just like us. You think they don't also want men that they are attracted to? You think if they find a man that they are attracted to, they wouldn't go the extra mile? That's how it is. Anytime you see a woman that's acting tough, she don't want you. Simple. Move on.
I have a response, but I think everyone's going to say something.
Chris, can I partly disagree with both of you. And I think it's a skill issue. I think, Chris, you started off well and you kind of I got lost in your thoughts a bit because you gave an example of a girl that you've been talking to on social media, on TikTok and on Instagram. And the reason why I'm speaking from my own personal perspective as a woman, I'm not speaking for all women. I think the reason why you got her number after she said no, it was your approach. Because I think that the reason why I don't agree with Kingsley on this is that women are socialized to seek safety. They are living, if they have male figures, father, brother, always protecting them, right? And they are now being socialized to see the world as dangerous. So if you're a man and you're approaching a woman, she wants you to prove yourself. Why should I trust you? Why should I let my guard down? Because our guards are always up. And so when you come on to her, it's the way that you approached her. She started off saying, no, I'm not comfortable yet giving her number. But you flipped it. I'm not sure you did that consciously, but you made her drop her guard by saying, yeah, I understand. Don't worry, I'm okay with that. And because you were okay with that, I think that kind of affected, it's not that she was trying to be difficult, it's that she's in a world where she's socialized to always have her guard up with men.
I know. You see what you're saying? It's so on the nose in the sense of when you talk about the intentionality of it. I tell you what, there was intentionality, but it was intentionality in the sense of, yeah, even though we've had like nice exchanges in the DMs, and on like panels we've shared, over like last few months. However, I think for me, the intention was, okay, because it's kind of been sudden, like a quick flip of like the dynamic in recent weeks. Are you trying to play a game with the number thing? Because she was actually a bit playful. She said it. She was being playful. She said, you're going to have to work for it a little bit. Because it wasn't about me working for it. It was just more about her being comfortable.
Yes, that's
exactly.
it.
So for me, it was just more like, okay, so the intention came in my why. I didn't ask it in such a brash way. Please forgive me. But it was in the why. And I think I always use this as like a fundamental. This is a weird segue, right? I always said with my parents, the way they made me really align with what they wanted me to do or whatever it came to be is they just had to explain it to me. Look, I wasn't the African child that you're just going to just say. Maybe it was me being born in Europe. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm built different. But like, I remember the first time, like, because I grew up with my stepfather more so than my biological father. And I met him when I was 6. That's when we became a blended family. He didn't have any prior children. He was my mother's partner after my biological father. And when they told me that my mum was going to be, she was pregnant with my younger brother, who was that was my first sibling. I remember I'd always called him by his first name prior. And then they had asked me, okay, from now on, we'd like you to call him Dad, because now you're going to have a little brother. We're going to, and the way they explained it, it was so succinct, it was very concise, but it was like, okay, cool, I'm down. Right? It wasn't going to be like a rebellious child saying, no, I'm going to call him, right? But it was just more like, okay, that makes sense. We're family now. Cool. And I think in the exchange I had with the lady I've mentioned, it wasn't like you had to convince me of anything, but it was just more like, all right, just make it make sense for me. Like what you're saying, I don't mind it, but just make it make sense. Like the why is very important. And I think, yeah, like the intention wasn't to make her drop her guard down in that way, but just more in the sense of, all right, let's unpack. I don't mind. It's kind of like one of my flirting techniques, I guess. Just let's, go deeper.
From a woman's perspective, and this to the women on the panel as well, what do you disagree with from what I described? Because I personally, as a man, I think that is the most efficient way men can date. I think this eliminates a lot of fluff from the man's perspective, in the sense of a man. I am of the opinion that women know what they want too. Women are go-getters as well. I actually think also that this perception that women are just socialized to wait for the man to come after, it's actually a lie. I think it's a lie. I think that, and I'll tell you why. Because if you look at historically, from the Victorian era, women have always gone after the things they want. They may not do it as overtly as men do. In some eras, when a woman sees a man she likes, she would have already done her own investigation on who that guy is, and then she would typically drop her, in the Victorian era anyway, in the West, she would drop a handkerchief wherever the guy is, and the guy would then have to, oh, excuse me, my lady, you dropped this, and then she'd be like, oh, thank you, what a kind guy. Things along those lines. This idea that women just sit down and have to wait, I think that is a fallacy.
It's not wait. You said it. Strategic positioning.
Yeah.
I'm just saying something you can, it's factually proven by science. That's a woman is socialized. Even young girls, you have to make me comfortable, because then I'm told constantly how evil men are. The world is this and the world is that. So everybody's protecting me, but I'm protecting myself. So if in a dating scene, I want to see, is this guy am I safe with him? And sometimes, really, to be honest with you, I don't know if other women will agree with me, that can come off as nonchalancy from a woman. Let me see if I can drop my guard with this guy. Like I used the example that Chris gave. She said no. Now, the way that some men have, I think it's also like an ego thing for them, or not knowing how to judge that sometimes a woman's first no doesn't really mean more. No, it just means I want to know more. Now, I know that there are women that play games, but that's also where you have to flip it back. If you're talking to a girl and you really like her, and she's ask her, like, are you playing with me? Because if you are, I'm out. And when you say it, mean it and be out. If she likes you, like you said, Kingsley, she will make it easier for you. It's just a fact. The initial resistance is usually not really resistance. It's, I want to understand more. Can I be safe with this person? Can I drop my guard? What are his intentions?
Can I say something to why I'm so if I say no, I mean no. I'm one of those women. Once I say no, it's no. Like, don't pursue me. Like, you get me, I get really pissed. But the reason why I'm usually successful in pursuing, and not many men I've dated, because I feel like not every, like only few small men actually meet my criteria, and so therefore it is very hard for me to meet the men that I'm interested in. But over 80% of the time I'm successful in dating them. And the reason that is I don't approach them like, oh, can we go out? That's not how I approach them. The way I approach them is I start by getting closer to them, to get to know them as friends. And once I feel like I like them, I know them, and then I'll be like, are you interested in dating me? In the process, they're getting to know me too, right? And maybe they're blinded sometimes, maybe they're not. And, sometimes like 6 months before I even say, okay, I'm interested in you, to tell them straight up. And I tell them straight up, I don't even like sugarcoat it. And most of the time it's like, yes, I'm interested in you. And also if a man, like the same way if a man is pursuing a woman, if vice versa, if the man is interested in you, he will also give you space to be closer to him. It might be interested in just sexually, it might be interested in more than that and stuff like that. But my first relationship, I was like 16 years old when I first saw him. I was so attracted to him. My family member got his number and called him. And I told him I liked him. Right, we were in the same church. We kind of grew up together, sort of, So I liked him, and we later on when I was 18 years old, we started dating. I pursued him still, and then we fell in deeply in love. So I'm not afraid to approach men. I don't find it to be terrible. Actually, some men like that, right? Because it takes the weight off of them. It takes, that sort of overall society expectation of men pursuing women. And yes, it can be very terrifying approaching, especially women are mean. I'm a woman. I said women are mean, very mean people. So it takes that weight off, right? And for me, because I'm such a kind person, I am to anyone in my life, so I'm able to still, because I'm so kind, I try to distinguish through that interaction by being strict, who I like and who I don't like, because I'm so kind to everybody, right? With the way I enter your life first, I make it seem like you're just like any other person. But if I don't ask you out after 6 months, a year, I'm not interested in you. I just want to be your friend. But within if I know I'm interested, I will literally ask you out.
It's only if the woman is desperate that will happen. Because if a woman gives you her number and you want her to now make the move, like you said, you want to flip it. If it's a woman that has set her standards and all that, she just blocks and deletes your number. She'll be like, if I gave you asked for my number, I gave you my number. So you want me to now chase you? I've not seen a woman in my circle chase a man, because you guys know you want to do the chasing. So it's not a woman's thing.
I think men don't want to.
So if that happens in any situation you find yourself, because I don't know a woman that would rather want to go walk in the park than go sit in a restaurant and just have a quiet time and all that. So it all depends on the woman. It's not a general thing with women. I don't think it's all women. I'm sure if we want to take like a sample pool and ask women, would you rather the park or go somewhere quiet and just have a good time? I'm sure a lot of them will pick going somewhere quiet and have a good time than going to the park. I just think some of those women, either for some reason they become desperate, or maybe they have their own personal reason.
So,
but it's not a rule that applies for women.
I'm gonna add this in my own experience. Women don't care where you take them if they also find you attractive. That's my thing. I feel like a lot of women come online and say all these things to sound tough. I'm sorry. I know maybe because of my reality and what I've seen, I feel like what we hear on TikTok and what I see in real life and hear from other guys that I know for a fact are attractive. Maybe it's just different realities, which I can acknowledge. But I have seen different aspects of women. I've seen the shadow side. I've seen the TikTok side. I have seen that when a woman desires a man, and she also sees that guy as what she wants. If that guy says, "Yo, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I want to go out here. I want to go for a walk in the park. I want to go take some ice cream. I want to take a coffee date," women are going to say yes. Because, for example, a lot of the women that come online and say, "Oh, I don't do coffee dates. I don't do coffee dates." First off, I think those women, they are capping. I think those women typically don't get attention from men in general, because why would you make a video talking about how you don't do coffee dates? How a guy invited you for coffee dates, and now you're making a TikTok video about, "Oh, so this guy approached me and he wanted me to do coffee." And I said, no. It just comes off as somebody who doesn't get approached. So now once you got approached and you got a chance to reject him, now it's like is like an achievement in your life. So you make a video. I don't know. I just feel like women who actually live that reality, it's not a big deal, but maybe that's just me thinking too much about it. But I'm in my own lived experience and from my own lens, most women, maybe it could also be where I am, because in Switzerland, women don't give a shit. Most of the women here make money, they don't care. Most of the women here, even the ones that are in middle class, they care about, do I like this guy or not? It could also be that. Like the women here, in fact, some of them actually get offended if you want to pay for them. They genuinely do get offended. Not that they're trying to prove something, but they really don't like. It's all about, do I actually want to spend time with this guy? Do I actually like this guy? Do I actually find this guy attractive? So maybe that's because that's what my reality is. So it's less about, where is this guy taking me to? Do I like this guy? Do I feel safe with him? Am I actually attracted to this guy? Along those lines. And these are women that are working in banks, working in offices, working in things, owning their businesses. So it's not about that. Maybe that's my reality, right? And I've been in situations where I've had women approach me, right? I've had women hit on me. So that's my reality. And I stand on that. When a woman is genuinely attracted to a guy, women, first of all, women also pursue men. Women also chase men. I don't expect women to say that online. Women also double text men that they find. Not all, but I would say most women do that. But they only do that for the guy that they're truly attracted to. I mean, I just literally made a video. I could even post that video. I could actually maybe even share the video on here of a woman saying how she, for example, she has many guys in her DMs asking her out, trying to take her out, trying to get to know her, but she's not attracted to, she's not interested in them. But the guy that she's actually attracted to, who doesn't put in that much effort to her, that is the guy that she goes the extra mile for. And I've seen this across the board with women, regardless of a culture, regardless of a race. So that's why I struggle to, when women come on and talk and make it sound so big, I hear it, but I don't believe it, with all due respect, because what I have seen and what you guys talk about doesn't match.
I stand by that. I strongly agree with that, because I think personally, when I have a son, I'll raise him to say, you do not invest equity in a woman that is not your wife, at least a fiance or a serious relationship. I think when men do it, is a very dumb thing to do, because think about it this way: you're a man, you're looking for your life partner or your serious relationship or whatever, and you go on 3 dates in a week. How wise financially is spending 300 euros on a date? That's dumb. That's like very stupid. And a woman that would require you to do that, in my opinion, is not a woman that is worth being with.
She is just not attracted to you. Trust me, I'm speaking
Or
as a
she's
man.
delusional.
It's not even, no,
Or
it's not delusional. Trust me. And this is something I wish a lot more men, yeah, she is delusional, of course, but she is not attracted to you. And I understand women might struggle with this, but I feel like a lot of men don't even know this. And no, trust me, I have lived this. I have been on dates with women who to me from another guy that took them to an expensive restaurant and they gave that guy a side hug. I have been on dates with women where guys with the latest Range Rover are inviting them on dates, but they came to see me. I feel like, and because it's not about the materialistic thing. If a woman is truly, if she likes you for who you are, for your, it could be your, she could be sexually attracted to you, she could be attracted to the kind of emotional things you bring to the table. But all I'm saying is this: if she's putting all these standards on you as a man from the get-go, she just don't like you. She's trying to get something out of you. That's all. Because for the guy she likes, it don't matter. But go on, dear. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to make that point.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but I also think that when a man goes all out, wants to do all of these things, to me, it's always a sign of a red flag. And when a woman, wants you to take her on all this, like, if a woman requires so much, especially at that beginning stage where you don't even know each other, like a first date or whatever, and she's requiring you to, I was seeing something on TikTok where people have to send other people Ubers. Like, what is that? That's not even financially wise to invest in someone that you don't know. Instead of going for a walk in the park, going hiking, whatever it is. Yes, sitting in a restaurant is more comfortable, but it could also be a cafe. It doesn't have to be a restaurant. You don't have to drop her and pick her, all those requirements. And to me, when men do it, I always see it as a sign of desperation.
When men plan dates, it's not about the date for me, it's about who the man is. So if a man is calling you up to say, put on this dress, maybe we're going to play golf or we're going on a date, it's not because of you, the lady, he's doing it. He's trying to let you know this is who I am as a person. That's how I see it. That is how I see it. So if you're coming off to say, okay, you know what, let's go to this place or that place for our first date or second date or just have a good time, it's about the person planning it. It's not about the woman. It's about the person, because you're telling me this is who you are. You're showing me this is what I am capable of. I don't see it as a red flag.
But who's going to
I
pay?
see it as this man is basically trying to let me know this is who I am. And that is one thing I say to my friends that are guys. Because I have a friend, he's a very, very good guy. This guy, when he's dating a woman, he wants to show her off. He wants to show her his, because he loves designer outfits. So he's buying for himself, he's buying for the lady. And that is a trait that he never did stop. So it's about him. It's not about the lady.
For that guy,
That is what I just want us to understand. So if the men are planning those dates, because it's not the women compelling them to, it's free will, it's your money. Nobody's forcing you to spend your money. It's actually your money. So if you choose to spend and plan a date like that, I feel it's about you showing off who you are as a person, your standards, and all that. It has nothing
There is
with the person
nothing
you're
wrong
taking.
with that, but you shouldn't require it. If a man wants to come and pick you up for a first date and he plans this, me personally, I'll be uncomfortable, because let's assume a first date, you are not somebody, I don't know you. You want to have this elaborate plan. Why? I don't know you. I feel like to me it would
she's
it would
poor.
make
I know. No. You see, I know. This is why I like you sometimes. You know, you are you're very kind. I know. You give women so much credit. It's not that deep. She requires all these things because.
So you mean all the men taking women out, all the women are poor?
No, you see how you.
They're not poor.
You see how you heard what you wanted
No,
to
you
hear.
said because the women are poor. That was what you just said. That was what you just said.
Are you gonna listen to me, or are you just gonna repeat that?
Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening. I promise I'm listening.
What did you think I just said? Repeat.
You said because the women are poor,
That what?
taking the men are taking them out. You know, when you said she's kind, you like her because she's kind, and all these elaborate arrangements
So you don't know what
the
I'm
men
talking
are
about. Okay,
doing, and the women just accepting is because they are poor.
You didn't even make sense what you were explaining. So what I'm gonna say is this. The context of what Eno was talking about was when a woman requires that. That was what she was saying. Eno was saying when a woman requires that a man does something elaborate for her. And I'm saying it's because those women who insist, those women who say, a guy must take me on a $300 date. A guy must take me to, the first date must cost X amount of money. The man must do this for me. And it's all materialistic centered. Is because those women are poor. Either they're poor or they come from.
Not necessarily. They are not poor. I think it's just setting standards.
What standards? Okay, so let's talk about it, because a lot of women like to do this standard. But you have all these standards, and these women that have all these standards, for some reason, you guys are always single. I didn't want to go here, but let's go here. It's so funny to me. The most single women tend to have the highest standards. And you come to find out that these standards that you guys keep talking about, I'm not going to lower my standards, but you guys don't seem to even be able to meet these standards yourself. And it's so funny to me, the men that do meet these standards, it always seems to me that they only use you guys for recreational purposes. I don't understand this shit. Because I see there's a lot of women online that have all these standards. They call it high value dating, as they call it. Tons of women that give high value dating standard. You know what all these women have in common? Single as fuck still. But they always go on dates though, which actually begs the question: are you guys going on dates? Or are you guys just going to? I don't, because I'm confused. Because I assume that dating should lead to something a bit more serious, but it's like this standard, and it's so funny to me because you guys impose these standards that oftentimes you cannot meet yourself. You say you do, but it's like you don't meet those standards yourself. That is why I say you're poor, because when you are dating for the real intention of dating, material things don't matter as well. I stand by that. When you are dating to get to know somebody, the material things should not matter the most. Of course, people typically date by their social class. Why do people ignore this? You wouldn't have to set those standards if that's your daily reality. For fuck's sake, I'm so sick and tired of women that always have to, they come online and then they parrot the thing that they're hearing from different women. Listen, what is understood doesn't have to be explained. I repeat, what is understood does not need to be explained, ladies and gentlemen. If you claim as a woman that you are at a certain social class, if you rub shoulders with the same men you claim you do, you will have access to that. But the reality that a lot of women don't seem to understand is that you are not who you claim to be. If you have to come on TikTok and start talking about this is what I demand, what that tells me is that's not what you're used to. If you have to come and parrot it and talk about, but that's my standard, how is that standard helping you? Because if that was your social reality, if that was your social class that you experience often, that wouldn't be so unique to you. Because you see a lot of women that come online, for example, and talk about, if that was truly your reality, why is that unique to you? So what that comes off to me is that you want those things, but those things don't want you back. But a lot of women struggle to accept that, because women that get dates like that, trust me, they don't have to enforce, they don't have to tell us how that's their standard. I'm just saying, men that get women don't have to talk about, oh man, this is how I do it. It just happens. Women that get asked out a lot don't have to make videos about how they rejected the guy because he invited them for coffee date. It's normal day for them. It's like breathing. I'm just saying, unless I'm misunderstanding things, because these women like standard. If that's really your standard, in my opinion, then I don't know. I just feel like you would have already been living.
I have an entry. If is okay to jump in.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just because I feel like a lot of women. Oh, what if that's my standard? Okay, how's that standard helping you?
Well, this is my thought. Yeah, this is my thought. And I'll try to be concise. So for me, the questioning I have, as we're saying, is it's linked to what everyone's been saying, to be fair, because I really want to observe. Okay, so if you've noticed, when you're speaking to when we're talking about how women pursue men, right? As I understand what you've said, you were talking about it happens. Like, from your lived experience, but also what you've observed, is that no, when women want you, they'll pursue you, right? You are correct in principle. And my pushback, actually, you've kind of provided my case study for me, right? But what we're also seeing at the same time are women who obviously are not living that experience. So I think it's kind of tied into the quality to quantity paradox, right? It's when women encounter what they consider to be a quality man, they will do what it takes to at the bare minimum, I can't remember who said it, strategically position themselves in the proximity of said men, right? And then to what Jeniku said, sorry if I mispronounced it, apologies. When she was talking about, no, she pursues men, what did I say to her? I 100% believe her, right? However, my questioning, and this is actually my argument, is how prevalent is it? Because then that, for me, changes the tone of the conversation.
Yeah.
We know it happens. We know women like Gina exist, but how prevalent is it? Because to what you've just said, there are hordes of women that are not speaking to that experience.
It happens a lot more than we like to realize. But the thing is, women are also getting rejected by the men. Stop giving women too much credit, bro. I think this is where a lot of men fuck up. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to men. I am the guy. I have seen both sides. A lot of men give women too much credit. Women are competitive by nature.
I agree.
This is where a lot of men fuck up. Women are competitive.
But you see what you're saying. Yeah, go on.
You will speak. I know it. I'll put you the mic. I think I know what's. But
yeah.
Let me land. We need to stop that. Like, we need to stop this idea that you think women are not ruthless with what they want? You think women, when they want something, they're not going for it? They are. Believe me, they are. The thing, though, is this. If you look at the numbers, most women, Cristobal, are going after the same type of men. There's a Pareto
Agreed.
principle that exists for a reason. If you look at
Agreed.
from the dating apps, 20%, 10 to 20% of men typically get all the attention from the rest of from women. It's not a perfect science. It's not a perfect science, but that's how it typically goes. Because most women, when they talk about men, they're not talking about average men. They're not talking about all men. They're talking about the men they see. And when you now add social media and dating apps and how easily the average woman, whether she's attractive or not, can get attention, not she can get care or like she can get attention from men, it inflates her ego. So if we think that women are not DMing men, if we think women are not shooting their shot to men, we are false. The reason we don't hear about it, Christopher, is that these women are also getting rejected. They are getting rejected by those men that they are going after, because most women are going after the same group of men. They are getting rejected by those guys. So of course you want them to come and start talking about their L's. Some women talk about their L's. I mean, there's a great number of women right now who are making videos and posting it online about how they DM'd the guy and the guy left them on red. There's a great number. I mean, all these videos you see of women making TikTok think pieces about, men these days are emotionally unavailable. Men these days don't know how to plan a date. Men these days are not chasing women. What do you think that is? That is rejection. Because the men they want are not cooperating the way they want. So they make TikTok videos. It ties back to how we started this conversation about how women operate covertly and how men operate overtly. When men get rejected, we scream, we shout, we sometimes do something nefarious. When women get rejected, they shrink or they make TikTok think pieces. So women are reaching out to men. They're just getting rejected, bro. So we need to just stop. We need to stop this thing that women are just sugar and spice. Men, they are competing. Women compete with each other. I mean, put an attractive guy around. Put 100 women there. Even the most feministic woman. Let us see how they operate. If they are heterosexual, competition will ensue. What do you think, Christabel? I'm just saying.
No, wait. Let Juniper go first. No, I've got a pin and let Juniper go first, and then I'll go after her.
But no, I'm just saying, people on social media DMing other people. That's so weird. I never really live in that. I'm not living that social reality before, so I like my real life relationship. So, but I mean, he is right. That there are women who are, and many of the standards in the Western world, even in Africa too, it's so superficial. Like when women say, "I want a man to take care of me," I always ask them, "Can you do it for yourself?" Because for me, I'm the kind of person, if I cannot do it for myself, I'm not going to ask anyone else for it. I think it's very cringe when you ask. Basically, I'm like, some of you guys are looking for daddies. Just say it. You're not looking for partners. You're looking for your daddies. You're looking for someone to pay your rent. These are the standards that when they talk about, he got to be able to have a lot of money. He got to be able to. I'm like, man, I don't. My FYP is so political. But every now and then when those things come across my page, I just swipe them, or sometimes go to the person and block them, because I'm like, this is not even like productive. It's really counterintuitive. It's counterproductive, And there are women out there who are, and yes, women do get rejected quite a lot. This is why I understand what rejection is. I've getting rejected, but I'm not going to come and be like, oh my God, no. What I do is that's why I have to get to know you 6 to 7 to 8 months. And you also getting to know me without any strange attach, without any So if both of us realize that we meet each other's standards, for me, I think you're right. People look for quantity instead of quality. There's a lot of women out there, they don't even know themselves. They don't even know what they want. So that standard is very superficial, and they cannot even meet their own standard.
I'm gonna show you guys something real quick, okay? I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. Can you guys see my screen? Confirm. Because I show results.
Yeah.
I don't do wishy-washy stuff. The thing is, I look at what's happening in society. I pay very close attention to how society works. This is a guy that's very attractive. He's 6'3". He has a good face. He's muscular. He's well dressed. He's fit. He's got tattoos. Right? This is what a lot of I mean, you find these kind of guys from different types of races, right? There's a black guy version of this, Asian guy version. I see it because I'm in the fitness community as well. Look at the comment section. These are women in this comment section. They are shooting their shot to this guy, for God's sake. He's attractive. So when I talk to you guys and I tell you that women shoot their fucking shot for the guys they want, it might not be your type. I get it. Everybody wants to now be the unique one. I get it. But when the guy is a woman's type, women will shoot their shot. There are women in these DMs right now. If this same guy has a dating app, do you think women are not DMing him first? You think women are not trying to meet him? These are the same women that they probably have other guys in their DMs trying to talk to them. They don't give a shit. So what I mean by that is this. There's a different version. There's another guy, I don't remember his name. He's from Guyana, I think. A black guy. Same thing. Host, you are only forcing people to follow your ideology. I'm forcing you. How am I forcing?
Make your argument. You're good. Make your argument.
How am I
We're listening.
forcing people?
We're listening. Keep going.
It's not my fault if your IQ is a single digit. But anyway, but this is what I'm talking about. So let us stop this idea that women are just, trying to be cautious. Man, if women see what they want, they are going for it. But the thing is that these are the kind of men. I'm not saying it's only this archetype. There are different types of men. Right? And these guys are rejecting the women as well. So let's not act like this is not happening. There are women that are they are going after these kind of guys. There's a black version of this. There's an Asian version of this. Women are there. Every woman has their type. So they don't want to be seen in public. They're on Instagram DMs. Women shoot their shot, bro. They just get rejected as well.
I'm not disagreeing with the principle that women shoot their shot. But well, hold on. Listen, you've said it yourself. Pareto principle exists, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So the way you expressed it exists in the sense of women, 80% of women chasing 20% of men. And most men do not have access to women the way that 20% of men do, right? We agree on that. But the Pareto principle of the women that you're describing are the 20%. That's my argument. My argument is, and again, I like the fact that you mentioned the concept of results. And I like the fact that you even went to dating app.
Because I live in reality. I don't live in, because a lot of women.
But the reality of the situation,
right? A lot of women like to laugh, but ideological. I see what women do through data. That's it.
Right. So what I'm saying, what I'm disputing the principle of what you're saying. I'm disputing, or I guess maybe not disputing, maybe is the wrong word. But what I'm saying to you is, yes. Just the point I'm trying to make is that, as much as what you're saying is true, how true is it for how many people? How true is it for how many men? How many men have that experience that you're describing? And how many women are approaching men the way Gina Koo has approached men? How many women have the same comfort to be rejected in the way men, not as much today. This is obviously what we speak to before, right? The generational shift in how many men approach women point blank, right? Compare millennial men to Gen Z men, it's worlds apart, right? So it's a thing of, okay, if we know that, yes, when women like a guy, when they find you attractive, they behave differently. However, the reason that we're making that distinction is because it's not the norm. So I'm not arguing the quality of your argument. I'm arguing the prevalent it is.
I mean, I hear you. I don't have the result. I guess the reason I use that is because it's easy to show, right? Now, if we go into, it's a great question, Chris, and I don't think I have the answer. You know what I mean?
We don't need to have the answers. We just have to have the questions and then food for thought, man. We don't need to have all the answers, man.
Yeah, no, and I respect that, and I acknowledge that. It's just that for me, I guess what I wanted to prove was we needed, and I'm speaking more to the men. I feel like a lot of men, not to sound disrespectful, but we give women too much credit in terms of...
Be disrespectful. Be disrespectful.
I genuinely feel like maybe it could be because I'm speaking from a privileged position, because I've had women, I've seen different sides of women, and I've seen the way some men treat women, and I'm like, huh? She's just like you, bro. She just hides it better. I mean, what I mean by that, we give too much credit. Like, we look at women like sugar and spice too much. We forget that women also compete for men in their own way. especially in their own way. Women are competitive. Women are, in fact, I would even say women are more competitive than men. They just compete in a very different way. We may just not see it. And a lot of what women do, we may never even find out. Because women, one thing women do better than men multiple times over is that they know how to do something and you will never find out. You just never will find out. But one thing I know for sure is that women are very competitive. They may not like to vocalize it the way we do, especially when it comes to dating. Dating is competitive. That is why if we circle back to the initial prompt that I said attractive women don't become anti-men. And I stand by that. Because these women, they lost. And to coddle themselves and to coddle the hit, they then create theories of how they never wanted it anyway. I can never be in a relationship with a man. There's a black woman that's trending now. She's got like something all over her lips or something. She's interestingly built. With all due respect, she's interestingly built. If you know what I mean, I don't want to. But shocker. She's telling us how she never wanted a relationship. I'm like, oh really? I mean, it's quite interesting how you are the one telling us why you never wanted it. It's funny. But she comes after men. I'm like, it checks a lot of boxes. I'm not shocked you're anti-men. I'm not shocked you're anti-relationship. I am not shocked you're telling women to stay away from relationship. I am not shocked because you're a loser. You lost. So now you have to bring other women down with you. There's nothing wrong being single. I'm single. I love it. But I'll be damned if I become anti-women. I am not anti-women because I'm not a loser. I've had great relationships. I've had great experiences. Women that are not anti-men tend to have good experiences and they tend to be attractive too. There's a correlation to that. So I guess in attempt to that point you made is women are competing for men in their own way. Now, how they do it is, I don't know. I can't speak, especially average women. They are competing for men in their own way. This could be in, I don't know, trying to initiate conversations with the guy. I mean, what's another thing we are told? When in the gym, when a woman is curious about a guy, she puts herself in the line of sight of the guy. She tries to work out with the guy. She tries to ask for help from the guy. There's a different way. She's going to make herself accessible. I'm just saying, I just don't want us to make it look like, this Victorian perception that, especially in 2025, that women are just, sitting in some corner somewhere, twiddling their hair and twiddling their thumbs and just waiting for Prince Charming to come in a white horse. Then she's competing. She's trying to find her guy as well, if she's heterosexual, in her own way. Now, I personally think, Cristobal, men are their own architects of struggle in dating. I don't think it's women. I think it's men. I think a lot of men they don't know how to read the room. A lot of men lack confidence. A lot of men lack self-esteem. I think a lot of men, they like to blame everything but themselves for their lack of effort, like these incel guys and black pill guys. Oh, I'm not getting success with women because I'm short. No, you're not getting success with women. Could be you're short, but you're also a creep. You also have a nasty attitude. You also have a bad mindset. Your
breath stinks.
Looks are important, but it's not the only thing, right? But I think that's where a lot of men, they don't know how to read the room, right? And that affects their chances with women. But I don't know. I just feel like women out here competing, bro. Trust me, they are competing. They just, take their L's and they don't talk about it. Most women, when they get rejected from the guys they want, they shut up. Because women tell me things. That's something women tell me things that they would never tell even their boyfriend. You understand? So I know what I'm talking about. Women shoot their shot. Women they just don't talk. I know of a girl who, she was going after this guy who was a project manager in a pharma company. The guy left her on red multiple times. She was still texting him. I was like, this guy's not interested in you. She didn't care. She kept texting him because she wanted him.
I feel ya. I feel ya.
That's just what it is, man. We gotta do things.
I'm interested to hear what Enno and Gina think on this. Ladies, what are your thoughts and feelings? They're doing that. They're watching Netflix or something right now. But I feel you, bro. Listen, you know what it is? Like me and you, if you notice, I'm not just being quiet because I'm being respectful and just letting you explain, but I'm also being quiet because at the end of the day, it's a lot of silent nodding, right? I think my thing is I always try to look at the inverse of things, right? So and you know what? this is the perfect time to place this anecdote. I'm really happy that Eno and Gina were talking about how boys and girls were getting socialized in, I don't know if they specified specific Scandinavian country, I can't remember, but it was a Scandinavian country. As someone who, I'm from London, right? I remember, I would say this is maybe about 10 years ago at this point. But even maybe slightly before then, obviously being out in London, being part of the social scene in London, you'll meet women from all over Europe and the world, right? But I always noticed the energy from Scandinavian women was very specific. They were go-getters. Like, if they like you, they come for you, right? And like, we're talking about like attractive women, right? And not just in a sense of, oh, they think you're rich or they think you're a man of high status. No. It's just purely on like, if you're a vibe and they find you attractive, like they will pursue you in the way that you're talking about. But it was a slightly higher level, right? Almost in a way, like it felt like to me, and maybe I say this as a black man, it felt like to me they were like kids in Toys R Us, like a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I went to visit a Scandinavian country for the first time. I've been to Oslo twice, Stockholm once, and I remember my first trip to Oslo. I went out. I was by myself. I went out. It was a vibe. There's a girl I ended up trying to talk to at the end of the night. And basically, I didn't wait because I was nervous. It was just more like, I'm by myself, she's with people, and plus, this is me in my earlier years. But what I found interesting was, one, she was like, wait, why did you wait so long to talk to me? Which I found interesting. But just generally speaking, it wasn't so much my observation of women out there, but it was the men out there. And what I observed is that men over there are very, very, conservative. Conservative in a sense of like, they don't approach women often enough. I know this because when I was speaking to the Scandinavian girls that would visit London, even if it was just on a friendly conversation, they would say, no, Scandi men are too reserved. And I think to tie into what the gender conversation that Eno and Gina were talking about is, if you actually look at like social studies, even like the economics, just the culture in a lot of Scandinavian countries, it's very egalitarian, to the point where it's like it's engineered, like it's an intentional thing at like a social political level, right? Like in education, in politics, in profession, like across as many areas, right? Having said that though, and I can't remember, I need to source it and put in the comments one day, but like what they found though, because you'd assume, okay, there'll be more women, like more parity in the women that enter into STEM industries, so on and so on. Actually, the gap widened even more. So even though they were being raised to be go-getters, like equal to boys, the choices that they would make in terms of like career pursuits, in terms of like interest points, would still very much be traditional women things or traditional men things. And you see that in the behavior in real time. Because now I understood, okay, because it's a more egalitarian culture between men and women, but it doesn't engage in, I guess, the biological thing. And to the point where, like, when you're interacting with a woman out there, they will pursue you more because men don't pursue enough. So yeah, that's food for thought. I hope that I was able to connect the dots a little bit, because I almost confused myself.
No, I hear you. It's also cultural. That is for sure, right? Cultural. In some cultures, women just go for it. And I think white women in general, I know are very straight. Like, they go for what they, especially white women in the West. I've noticed, because now they have the independence. They don't have. They have a lot more freedom compared to their counterparts around the world. So I've seen that they can actually, now that they have their own money, have their own things going for them, they go for what they want, man. If they see a guy that they like, they will shoot. Hey, what's up? My name is Tata. What's your name? They may not do it the way we do it, but as you can see on the screen, there are different ways women approach men, bro. Like, subtle cues, eye contact and smile. She sees a guy she likes, she looks at him, and she might even give him a little wave and say hi, or invite him for a drink. Like, bro, I don't know what, that is what I'm seeing a lot now. Like this, and I've experienced all this stuff. So maybe that's why I'm speaking a little bit. I might sound a bit out of touch, because this is something that I've seen, right? Proximity,
I think racial culture.
What did I say? Proximity and engagement, moving closer. You remember when I talked about the gym? I remember when I was living in another city, I was going to the gym, and I had a girl move all the way to me, like, hey, what's up? Are you new here? I'm like, yeah, what's up? Because she's been looking at me. I've been in that gym for like 3 weeks, and she always see, because I when I go to the gym, I don't talk to any. I'm friendly, but I'm there to absolutely work and, you know, crush it. And your boy's sweating, your boy's buff, your boy's, you know, strong, you know, fresh haircut. She came to me, can I train with you? I'm like, yo, sure. You know what I mean? She came to me. So it absolutely happens, bro. And, you know, yeah. Why it might seem less
Can I
common
say
or different.
something?
Fear of appearing too much. You know, so now, yeah, go on, go on.
I think it might also be a racial culture and also a family culture, where when we're talking about, you know, how women operate in the dating space when it comes to approaching or not approaching their future partner or their, you know, flings. For me, I didn't grow up in a home where we saw a gender specific role to a degree, so I'm not used to that. Also, I grew up in a community where, you know, we and the boys, we did everything together in all ways possible. So we didn't have like this separation between boys and girls where, oh, boys do this, girls do this. And so therefore we were so comfortable, to me, to the point that even when I was in high school, junior year, I joined the American football team in my high school. And that also gave me more confidence, right? Where I wasn't afraid of men. I wasn't afraid, oh my God, I wasn't. And then now I'm a little timid, you know, every now and then. But I would say also the gym thing, you know, I do approach people in the gym, men. But it's not because I like them. It's not. Nah, I hope a lot of people don't. Because there's this two Nigerian guys. Because when you're African, I'm much more confident and comfortable talking to you. And most of the people that I do see in the gym are African men. And they're when it comes to black people, and they're nicer. They don't give you the very rude stare like the women would do. So one time I saw this young man. He was in the gym and he was, you know, lifting weight. And I just walked up to him because his physique was so extremely, like, just beautiful. And I was like, oh, are you from Ghana? He's like, no, I'm from Sierra Leone, blah, blah, blah. He said, oh, let me get your number. I said, blah, blah. And then I told him, I was like, because I knew he was young. He was a pretty young kid. And I said, just so you know, I'm a 35-year-old woman. I don't date little kids. And then he was like, oh, I'm not little. And then he started playing it off. And eventually he told me he was 22. I was like, yeah, no. Absolutely not. But then there was another two guys, both from Nigeria, and I was, you know, Chris and the other guy, and I was so, you know, because they were Africans and stuff like that, because it's just great to see African people. And I think it's because I'm home most of the time. So I was talking to them, and they started acting funny. Not because I wasn't attractive. I said the thing I was, because I was asking him, he got money, he got Mercedes Benz. His friends were asking him, I didn't care for that. He's showing all that. He was pretending, and then eventually he started acting funny. I was like, yo, I was like, what is this guy thinking? I'm like, those things don't impress me, right? And rather than that, I was like, oh, now I know. I would never see anyone in the gym and talk to them. After that, I started pulling back. Whenever I would see people in the gym, even if I just impressed with their physique or I see that they're African, I don't approach them, because now you know you can actually give wrong messages. Truly, it's not because I was rejected. Absolutely not. I wasn't interested in any of them, and so. I just want to say that, but yeah, women do approach, and if women, for me, I have my own way of approaching. If I approach you straightforward and I start talking to you out of nowhere, I don't find you attractive or I don't like you.
Gotcha.
Like, it's just because I'm very interested in the friendship. When I like you, what I'm going to do, I'm going to approach you through, maybe I will come in your space and I will, you know, just, it will not even be through conversation first. I was trying to make sure we're in groups where, you know, we can go back and forth in conversation. Eventually we start talking, become friends, and slowly we sort of move out of that space slowly. And then I get comfortable to know, okay, this is somebody I'm interested, or are they interested in me? And then if I know that my chances are greater to ask you, then I shoot the shot.
Fair.
Like, I don't, like, that's me. Normally when I see a guy, I don't find him, I don't immediately, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I think what it is because I'm not, and truth be told, I'm not driven by sexual, like, I'm not, like, since I was a kid. So most of the time I'm looking for connection, like really deep human connection. That's anybody, if a man want me to be attractive to you, that deep human connection, once you're able to build immediately, like, boom, even if you have red flags, it will start going out the window.
Fair enough, Gina. So Nigel, go on. After Nigel, we're gonna have like 1 minute. Everybody can speak, so that because I gotta close the live. I got tired. I gotta go to bed. Nigel, welcome. You're on mute, bro. Come off mute. Nigel.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Good. How can I help you?
I'm listening to your topic.
You came on the panel.
Yeah, I came. I'm listening. I'm checking. I'm reading your comments. I'm still trying to get all what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, then you can do that in the comments, bro. But what you've heard so far, because I'm gonna close the live soon, brother. You have to say something, otherwise I have to respectfully send you back to the comments. You want to say something? Because I'm gonna end the live in like 5 minutes. What have you heard, so that you can say something as well? It's only fair, you know.
I got nothing against women, bro. To be honest to you.
And, Christopher, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, you gotta have it. I'm very harsh on this. I try and like
Bro, communicate. Why are you on the panel to listen? You could do that in the comments, bro. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
I'm sorry I had to do that. I just feel like
Nigel, we love you, bro. You're a black brother. We love you, but come on.
We love you. I do love you. I love my Africa, bro. But you know, you gotta know what's going on. But Christopher, I'm gonna give you 1 minute to make a point.
Yeah.
Nigel, I
I'll
love
just
you. Nigel, I love you, brother. But maybe next time, okay? So I've been streaming for almost 4 hours, so I got my brain.
Oh wow.
Stuttering.
Yeah, bro. Like, go rest, man.
I'll give you 1 minute to
Yeah. I'll try to be concise, man. Listen, I feel like for me, it kind of ties back into what the comment I made about the women I was speaking earlier. Just saying, listen, man, like for me, I just appreciate discourse that is in good faith, and two, like an intelligent mind for me isn't necessarily one that knows a lot of things, but it's one that it's more in the thought process and the rationale. And I think, yeah, like to what we're speaking about, I think everyone has expressed it's so multi-layered. And I think if it's advice to like men and women, it's like know what you're consuming, but also in terms of how you enact this in the world, it's just having the capacity for nuance, knowing what your boundaries are, like emotionally, intellectually, whatnot, but knowing but also having the capacity for nuance and understand it. Okay, I guess even in the latest exchange between me and Kingsley just now, talking about obviously women's pursuit of men, it's understanding capacity versus execution. I think that's like my main thing. So yeah, just seeing how that plays out in the way men and women interact with each other, especially in the dating space. Yeah, it's just food for thought.
Got you, bro. Cristobal, hope to see you again, man. Love your perspectives, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. I followed you and I followed the girls as well, man. I'm definitely gonna be.
All right, man. See you. I think I know. Maybe might be asleep already. I don't know. Gina, I'm gonna pass the mic to you. 1 minute.
Oh no, I'm done. I don't have anything else to say.
Awesome, Gina. I love to see you. Always a pleasure, man. I love to see you.
You as well.
All right, you guys. I think I know. I don't think she's available. So, guys, I'm gonna end the live. Shout out to everybody that liked the screen. Shout out to everybody that gave some gifts. I appreciate you guys. We got over 10K likes, so that's amazing. I'm thankful. I'm gonna try to have at least a live every single day, no matter how quick, no matter how brief the life will be. But I like to keep the conversations going. Just so you know, I have no issue with anybody. I just feel like we need to have this kind of conversations and hold everybody accountable. Chief Tess, always a pleasure to see you, man. You're awesome. You're awesome. Much appreciated. And for those that disagree with me, that's also fine. We don't have to agree on everything. We're not an echo chamber. I wish you guys well, man. Thanks for tuning in. Wish you guys well. Peace out.